Oh,
How you doing, man?
yeah, I'm doing all right.
Good.
You sleeping okay?
Sort of. It took me a while to fall asleep last night, and yeah, I didn't have an easy time waking up this morning. I had a bad stomach as well. Other than that, I've been okay.
Bad stomach, huh?
Yeah.
My wife's been having a bad stomach too since we got back from Philippines.
Oh no.
Not sure what's going on.
It's not fun. I hope she feels better soon.
Yeah, you too, man.
제가 그 한 7년 차잖아요. 아니
네.
처음이라서 저는.
아,
네네네.
데뷔 전에 그랬었어요.
아, 예,
맞다.
알겠습니다.
그러니까 티종체나
Just,
레종체나
lining it up here.
그랬구나.
No worries.
자,
Alright, we're good. We got the lineups pretty sick.
I can't see it right now because I'm going to do the links.
We've got light rush speed, which is insane.
Ooh.
Bisu Snow Motive.
Okay.
Motive, the only one who's not in ASL.
You got knockdown
Um,
qualities, yeah.
That's right. Sulky Queen BTS.
Interesting. Kind of crazy that BTS is showing up.
Well, he had some good games in ASL. It's not like he played bad.
Nope, 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 nope. You play pretty fucking good.
Yeah, he had a pretty good showing, so I like to see him there.
Yeah. Honestly, better than I thought you would do.
For sure. For sure.
For sure.
Mm,
You've been enjoying Schedule 1?
yeah. It's funny. It's like, I didn't even realize at the beginning, but like there's like all these different strains that you can make. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I guess they give you more money or whatever. So I didn't really bother with it too much. But it turns out like the strains, like they actually do real effects. Like spicy, like lights your head on fire, and like athletic makes you, run and jump higher.
Yeah.
And like energizing, so you're like, I'm like running around smoking crack and fucking dealing drugs, running at like lightning speed, and I've got like zero gravity or anti-gravity strain, so I'm like jumping above the buildings and stuff like that and riffing around town.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, it's pretty funny. And I'm like selling weed to people that makes their eyes light up, so they've got like eyes like beaming and like a fire on their head. And you can get different strains. Like there's one gingeritis, where you give them the weed or whatever, and they smoke and then they turn into a ginger. Their hair just turns red.
Oh, it's a funny game, man.
There's another one. It's a balding. You can make they smoke it and their hair just falls off. So funny.
Oh shit.
Like, here, try this free sample. Their hair falls off and they start like shitting their pants. Laxative strain.
Yeah.
With a balding. So silly.
It's a pretty fun game. Alright.
That's pretty fun.
I think I'm ready when you are. Let me know when to do Audacity.
Okay. Alright. I am ready. Let's begin. Oh wait, hold on a second. Thank you.
I'll do a quick test as well. Test. Test.
That's okay, thank you.
Yo, Spirit. What's up, man? Good to have American viewers. You're up late then, right? Unless you're really early. You're getting up really early or staying up late, one of the two.
Spirit's on his grind set. Wakes up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Just joking. Did you see that, like, really famous now video? That guy, like the hustler, whatever, grind set morning routine.
No.
It's become such a meme. Oh
No, I
my
haven't
gosh.
seen that.
That video popped off, and so many people were so mad about it. It's like
Is it making fun of that kind of culture or what?
No, it's like this guy is being super serious, and he's insanely jacked, and he starts off his day like 4 a.m, and the what's it called? Like, you know, it like shows the times of when he's doing different things, and is like push-ups, and then go for a swim, and like ice face bath. They put his face in ice, and you know, go to the gym, and then like put his face in ice again, and then, you know, a hot sauna or something like that, and like just a whole bunch of stuff all done before like 6 a.m. You know, starting at like 4.
What time do you go to bed?
I have no idea, but it's just one of those like one of those cultural things where like suddenly everybody is talking about it, or like making fun of it, or, you know, making memes about it, or you know, just a weird one of those things, one of those internet things.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun, kind of funny to watch.
I haven't seen it, but I'm see it sometime.
It just oh shit, I forgot his name. Who was the guy in your chat? I was gonna
Spirit.
say just get him to FaceTime you.
Get him to FaceTime you. Yeah, he's the guy that's getting up early.
His morning grind set.
He listens to KCM while he's plunging his face into ice water and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's right. 300 push-ups, and then, you know, then to go to the gym, do chest. All right.
Let's get started.
I'm ready. All right, hit the button.
쭉과 함께 준비 끝났다는 콜이 돌았습니다. 이영웅 선수 어디까지 갈 것인지 방태수 선수 데뷔 전 BTS의 데뷔 무대입니다. 대자뷰로 가보시죠.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the KCM. It's time for week 8. Yeah, we're getting right down to it. The final week of the regular season. We're going to be starting off with Speed versus BTS. An awesome lineup today. Absolutely fantastic group of Starcraft players we've got together here. Light Rush, Speed, Bisu, Snow, Motive, Solki, Queen, BTS. Basically all the stars from the last week. A couple weeks of ASL. Aside from Motive, who actually didn't make it in. He got knocked out in the qualifiers.
Right, hopefully he can have a little bit of redemption here and play some good games, but it's kind of a treat to have like players like Speed, BTS making their way into the KCM after their performance in ASL thus far. They've been playing out of their minds, these guys, so it'll be really nice to see more and more from them. I'm super excited to see more from Speed. He's been an absolute machine lately.
Oh, for sure. Only guy I really wanted to see besides this was Barracks.
Yeah,
Barracks has been an absolute machine lately as well, so it's unfortunate we don't have him here, but the lineup is still just fantastic. I'm also really excited to see how BTS performs, and the fact that we got him versus Speed first is pretty exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect to see this matchup in KCM, that's for sure. BTS versus Speed. That's going to be really interesting to see how these two line up. BTS, this StarCraft 2 pro known as True, he's not necessarily that confident in his late game play, so I'm wondering if we'll see some kind of mid-game shenanigans out of him, relying on just like, you know, lair tech units to try and overwhelm Speed, or if he does feel confident enough to take it all the way to a long game. Haven't really seen so much of his super long game yet.
Well, this is interesting. Opening with an overpool, and he's going to start this gas right away. So overpool gas. BTS going to get a little cheeky here. He's expecting some early aggression from Speed, but that's not the case at all. It's a wall, and Speed is going to be feeling very happy with this opener. As long as he gets in here and scouts, he sees what's going on, he's going to sit back at home, relax, and take his early edge.
Yeah, your natural hatchery does get down pretty early when doing this, but it is slowed down by like 18 or so seconds than it could have been. So you're definitely taking a bit of an economic hit to go for this fast pool and gas, but it does make you super safe against anything like an ARAX or a BBS. Curious though how he's going to follow this up. Is it going to be a really fast Speed or Lair?
Oh, he's saving up that money for Lair. Well, that's what's going to be started. He had that one larva there waiting, and so definitely going to throw down that Lair, get into a very quick Mutalisk potential. What do you think? Is it going to be Mutalisk here? It all depends on, I guess, whether this SCV gets taken out or not.
Now, Mutalisk is the only thing you can do optimal from this position, but sometimes that's why a Lurker build will work, because they assume there's no way he's going to go Lurker opening off of a non-12 hatch expansion. Usually if you go for 2-hatch Lurker, you're making a 12-hatch to make it more optimized, so sometimes you can obfuscate that. If he kills a SCV early enough, he can throw down the den around halfway completion, get that Lurker tech on the way, and really surprise Speed is a possibility. Will he throw it down? No, he's not. Okay, maybe he made it look like he was to kind of fake out Speed there. Had the drone like go down to make it in the residual vision to maybe think about the fact that he might be going for that 2-hatch Lurker play, but it is probably going to be a Spire.
Pretty sneaky stuff there from BTS, but yeah, he won't make the Hydra Den. Gonna start that Spire now. And so Speed, will he be thrown off by this? He's got a wall in the front. He started his academy right off the bat, so wants to get that scanner out as soon as possible, and then he'll be able to confirm for sure whether or not this is a Spire play and play accordingly. I think it's a good decision by Speed to get the quick armory off of this.
Yeah, he's only got 1 barracks, so it's not like he's doing like a 2 barracks early aggression. He just wants to get his upgrades and comsats up online as soon as possible. There'll be less time he has to wait for range to finish as well to deal with the Mutalisk, so that's always nice. We do see Speed actually finishing up for BTS, so he does want to keep the option of dealing with this early bio build with some Speedlings if Speed was doing some kind of 2-racks timing here. I'm curious though, will he still just move out onto the map at like 450 with just 1 medic or no medics and put on some pressure and try and force Sunkens?
I always hate it when Terran players move out without a scan first at the Zerg natural. It's really frustrating for me as a Zerg player because I know that you basically have God mode vision as the Terran, right? Like there could have been a bunch of Lings getting made right now, and if he moves out like this and Lings come from the north and surround this army and kill it off, you just end up in such a difficult position. He's being quite greedy here, not utilizing the scan. He's built only one scanner, and he is going to scan that natural now. He's seen everything, but there was an opportunity there. If he had been making Lings, he could have gotten a big surround, and I really don't like it when they move out like that without scanning first.
Right, yeah, it can be very risky to do a play like that, especially when Speed is online for the Zerg. He's going to be sewing himself up quite tightly though, but not just before the Mutalists make their way in. Does manage to snipe an SCV, but not before stopping the turret going up. Has this bunker out in front, kind of hedging his bets against anything that could come his way, protecting these depots as well as his front to Ling run by while dealing with the Mutalists in the main base. Needs to protect this production line. Only 1 turret is currently online on this barracks right now. Needs to make sure that he can protect this SCV, building a second one at all costs while he starts to get his tech online as well.
That's a pretty fast factory, 6-minute factory, really quick here for Speed. Are we going to see him go into a Valkyrie play? I don't actually see the eBay moving. Did you see the eBay upgrading there?
No, not yet. I wasn't paying too much attention, so maybe it is, but I don't think it is.
Going into a factory this quickly, I don't think he can quite afford it. He's not really able to move out either. And so, you know, BTS getting in here, killing off a turret, seeing the response from Speed, and no move out, I think he's starting to form a picture of what's actually happening. And he could try to all in here, could try to break the turrets, or he could just transition. It looks like he's going to send out a drone for that third base and try to look towards the transition, though.
Yeah. I'm curious, just how many Mutalisks is BTS going to make here? He has been churning them out. Only just now sending out a drone to take a third base, so might be seeing a lot of Mutalisk pressure in this natural expansion. If he does somehow kill loads of SCVs, that'll put him in a great game state to transition for that mid game. Needs to also keep an eye on this Marine count. It won't be as strong as it usually is due to the fast tech timings of Speed and how slow it has been for him to start making additional barracks here. So that's why you see so many additional turrets, and Speed playing very cautious with how he's positioning his Marines in the main base. He knows that there's not that many units available to him. Does manage to get a cancel on that armory as well. It's going to be a little bit longer until he can get those Valkyries online in dealing with BTS, who is pretty heavily reliant on this Mutalisk play. I don't think we see any transition from him anytime soon. So if somehow Speed can stabilize and get these Valkyries out, that's going to be huge. But look how many Marines are dying so far. This is crazy from BTS. Like, this is problematic for Speed. He's not really got enough army to keep pushing these mutas out of his base because he's doing this fast tech play, and means he's very flimsy in terms of his infantry.
Yeah, this is a scary part about going with such a fast factory, is you just don't have the numbers, you don't have the Marines, and with so many being picked off, when the Valkyrie pops out, it's not really going to have anything to escort.
No.
These Marines are not going to be able to push out if the Marine count is so low. Just a pair of Scourge can knock out that Valkyrie, and then the Mutas can do the rest. So we'll see if Speed's actually able to get together a formidable enough army to get out on this map. Whereas BTS's tech is quite late. He's kind of gone the opposite direction. He's just got his Hydralisk Den finishing up now. And so he started Hydralisk upgrade, but he needs to buy a lot of time here. And the Valkyries are going to start to really put on the pressure.
Yeah, there's three main directions you can invest in, which is army, economy, and also tech. And Speed has put so many eggs in his tech basket that's allowed BTS to throw more into his own army basket, and that's why we see him abusing him for so long. Finally, though, with the Valkyries out, if he can keep these first two Valkyries alive, he'll be able to start using them as point defense to push out onto the map. Needs to be careful, though. There are still some pairs of Scourge sharking around to snipe those. If he does somehow kill the first Valkyrie or two, that could be huge for BTS in closing out this game.
BTS looking very good at this moment, just before the 9-minute mark, but we could see him just completely crumble if he doesn't have these lurkers in place in time. Great dive there, almost gets one of the Valkyries, really, really close. But the Marine count is still very low. This is not a whole lot of Marines. If he can get another pair of Scourge together, if he can get these lurkers out. Wow, he's just building sunken colonies now. This is actually a scary moment for BTS. He's done really well this game so far, but he does need a little bit more in the way of defense, and he's being pushed back over and over again by these missiles coming out and splashing down these units. Here we go, hitting the stim button. He's going to run right up into the natural. Couple of lurkers are being morphed. Oh, that's a lot of splash damage, a lot of Mutalisks going down, and he's just barely managed to buy that time. Oh my goodness, really, really close shave there for BTS.
I mean, Speed was coming across the map so fast, doing good patrol micro with the Valkyries as well to keep those Mutalisks at bay. Not quite in time though. Hive is now just finished. We're going to be transitioning into a late game. Speed's going to try and get down here into this bottom left pocket. Maybe, just maybe, there's not enough lurkers down there to defend. This is a pretty late Defiler mound relative to the game state, and there is only 2 lurkers over here on the left. Maybe, just maybe, somehow Speed can break through here, but I'm not so sure.
Well, there's a really good chance that Speed, I think, goes for a couple of dropships to follow this up. He knows the position's not very good for him at the moment. And he also knows that most of the Mutalisks are killed. Oh my gosh, he's just going to dive on top of this? Oh, wow. He's just crushed these 2 lurkers immediately. The stack cannot stand, and the Nidus Canal will be gunned down. This third base is done for in a flash. Speed bust through the front.
Yeah, he checked the front with a Marine, saw there was only 2 lurkers positioned there, and just wanted to dive on top of it with a good spread of the Marines. He knows that Nidus Canal and Defiler Mound's a little bit slow in being set up here, so just barely had a timing to make work. And this is exactly how you play Terran. You try and find these little tiny windows of mid-game targets. Nice spreading of those Marines as well, trying to get on top of these 3 lurkers that are trying to catch this army out of position once it was pinned down there. Does manage to come in here with some Scourge and Mutas to clear up that Valkyrie and keeps these Marines pinned down for the time being, but so far so good for Speed.
Yeah, Speed has put himself into an almost unlosable position. He's even built 2 bunkers in the natural to make sure that the counterattack won't just straight up end him, building a lot of fire bats here as well. I love the way that Speed closes out these games once he's got the advantage. It's just a little bit unfortunate for BTS. He didn't have all the I's dotted and T's crossed in the defense.
Yeah.
He didn't have an overlord over that stack of lurkers, and so he was able to easily target down the lurkers one by one, rather than relying on, you know, an A-click, which would result in a lot of that fire being shot at the sunken colony instead. And so BTS, he's barely been broken. He's still alive for the time being, but he's on death's door at just 58 supply. Incredibly hard to come back from a situation like this.
Yeah, BTS knows he needs to get some kind of kill move set up. That's why we see the Defiler trying to position at the rally point of BTS, but Speed's done a great job of using that infantry force that was out on the map to buy some time and pinning down the rally point of BTS and not allowing anything additional to come out onto the map. And now we've got a pretty healthy vessel count to work with as well. It's going to be so tough to get a Defiler up here. He's just going to get constantly irradiated, and as long as you irradiate the Defiler far enough back, there's no way they can get to the door of your natural expansion to actually do any pressure to you. So this should be Speed's game. GG is finally called there. We see it.
여러분 이제 종체 하루 이틀 보시는 게 아니잖아요. 데뷔전 펼쳐서 승리를 거둬간다는 게 제가
Okay. Oh, by the way, Spirit, I'm from the UK and Saiyan is in Japan, but he's from Canada.
Too bad, BTS.
Yeah.
He's not quite hero level of play.
No.
Or yeah, action.
Yeah, Speed is very good at like getting across the map quick with the Valkyries as well. He seems quite confident in like the micro of the Valkyries and stuff.
Yeah, he is some of the best Valkyrie micro for sure. For sure.
And we get to see more Speed.
All right, you ready?
Let's get it. Got a need for Speed.
All right, Speed moving forward. This next opponent is going to be Motive. It's a pretty difficult map for Terran. Is there a chance we could see Motive take down Speed here? I want to say no, but Eclipse is a heck of a map, isn't it, Shun?
Yeah, it is a heck of a map. Very difficult to deal with anything two-player wise like this as Terran, especially when the third gas is so far away. A lot of Protoss players will try and abuse the map setup and just go straight into like a fast carrier play as well. So there's even more pressure on you doing something as Terran. You kind of like you got like a 2-3 minute window to come out onto the map and actually attack the Protoss before those carriers come online, for example. Very early probe scout from Motive. He's probably just going to gas steal here. Nothing too crazy. Speed, if he wanted to, could like try and like temporarily build his gas and then not finish making it, but it's not a very efficient way of playing Terran. Usually don't see that. It's usually better just to let them gas steal and deal with it later after the fact.
We saw Speed do it for a while where he was fighting the probe on the ramp. He would just put the SCV out there and try to block it, but it doesn't seem like he's favoring that anymore. Maybe that's something he'll save for the ASL or something. I'm not sure. For now, he's just going to kind of be forced into playing the traditional bunker expansion here, the gasless fast expand, and it's a bit of an open question right now for Speed. He's gonna have to send this SCV out, but behind this, Motive could be taking a Nexus first, but there's really no way of knowing until the SCV crosses the map, and he'll have to go over there and find out exactly what kind of position he's in.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this probe!
Oh, he gets it!
Gets it.
Wow, that's a nice little pickup there from Motive. A big moral victory in the early game. We do have a fairly early SCV scout coming out from Speed, which is really good for Terran to know how to align your gasless expansion build up with this. If it was a Nexus first, you need to know if you need to punish this by being able to pull boys and make lots of Marines early on and do a bunker play. He knows that's not going to be the case. It is going to be a more safer Nexus from Motive here, getting a gateway before actually throwing that Nexus down at around 20 supplies. So does now confirm that with the SCV, and see, now he can align himself to the opening of Motive more after getting a good scout off early. It's so important for Terrans to send this fast scout out when in these sort of situations.
Now, this is not a totally safe Nexus. Wait, what? Oh, he's going to try and steal us again. The re-steal. Motive, get it.
It's going to be close.
Okay. Okay. He's going to come help and kill it. Can I get it? Ah, he gets it.
He helped kill it to mess up the timing of Speed.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
That was a pretty sneaky move there, sending in the Zealot right at that moment. Looks like Speed is actually going to go for the bunker here in the natural and just get into his own CC. I thought he might pull SCVs and try to put damage on that Nexus or get a bunker up there, since he was continuously building Marines, but looks like he just needs them to get rid of this assimilator and push back the Zealot, and he will be successful in doing so.
This is a good adjustment from Speed despite getting double gas stolen. I mean, he hasn't really lost too much Marines or pressure at the front now, so he is really slow in these timings, so Motive will be able to get away with a little bit of murder, but it's not that big a deal here for Speed. Hopefully he can stabilize and make a game out of it still. It's just that he's going to be a tiny bit further behind the curve of the game than he would like to be.
Yeah, everything's going to be slow here for Speed. Paradox, I know, but hopefully he can pull himself together and play from this bit of an awkward position. I definitely believe in the guy. He has just been performing at such a high level, absolutely exceeding our expectations at every twist and turn. So I'm very curious to see how he approaches this. He's become less the 10-minute Flash and more the Flash incarnate. This guy is like warged into his body. He's actually become one of the greatest gamers in SC. Really impressive the way that he has grown and changed over the years.
If he can get to anywhere near Flash's level, he's going to be even more monstrous. He's just a little bit faster, a little bit sharper. Oh, wow. Okay. We're going to be seeing a bio play here today, like we saw from Light in SL. I won't say too much more than that. I should have even said that. I'm sorry, guys. But this is kind of crazy what we see here. You can kind of do this, though, when... oh, he sees it with the Dragoon, though. That's a big information warfare victory for Motive going forward. Now he should be able to have a much better chance at deflecting this. Could even throw down a shield battery at the front if he needs to help adjust himself to how much bio is coming his way. He will have stim finishing up on these Marines right as they get to the front door, so there is so much DPS potential in these units, and he is making a medic to follow this up as well, making the Marines even more tanky, being able to regenerate their HP. They can take 4 shots from these Dragoons, so if you can also heal that up with a little bit of medic energy, that just makes them so tanky and having so much staying power in the fight.
Kind of like this. I mean, you're going to have a lot of extra minerals anyway here as Speed, right? You weren't able to get that gas for so long, so he invested in some Marines and he built a medic. It does, I think, slow his factory timing down even further, right? Because he had to spend that 100 gas on the stim upgrade. He's going to throw down a pylon here right in the front, trying to block out these Marines. The bunker is coming up. Got to walk forward and actually target down that SCV. Would it be good to let that bunker finish here? Running forward, he's going to try. Gun down a few extra probes here. Good target fire by Speed. The SCV has been killed. That was an absolute necessity, finally targeting that down. Zealot getting on top of everything, and it looks like this rush, this little pressure is over. But in the end, in the balance, I think Speed made this pretty well worth it. Those Marines were built early game. Regardless, he just invested the extra bit of money for the medic and the early academy and the stim upgrade, and he got quite a bit out of it.
He did kill quite a few probes out of that, so maybe, just maybe, he's done enough damage now to Motive to transition into a much more standard game. Do have 2 factories worth of machine shops. He can build 2 tanks at a time to catch up with the curve. A 3rd factory on the way as well. Just needs to hold on right now at this natural expansion. Make sure this tank doesn't get sniped. There are still 4 Dragoons to worry about. They can 2-shot down that tank, and a shuttle's coming to potentially elevate units up into the main base as well for Motive. So there is still an attack window timing for Motive to make work here. So Speed does have his work cut out for him to stay optimized now. Just make sure he defends as well as possible and weathers the storm, because Motive's going to start hitting him hard.
Ooh, these turrets are just slightly too late. Can he actually break the bunker? That bunker is going to go down for sure. The Reaver here at the front is so nasty. SCVs are going to be pulled to the ramp. They're in a dangerous position, though. That Reaver could absolutely wipe out this entire ramp full of SCVs. Dragoons going behind the mineral patches. Thinking about dropping up there on the high ground. 1 Marine with stim is going to ward that away for the time being. The turret is a good deterrent as well. SCVs in a massive clump there, but being protected by the tanks for the time being. Going after the tank. Oh, he does get 1 tank. Very annoying stuff right now for Speed, who's just trying in desperation to save this DC. 1 more hit on that Reaver. Ooh, it's really getting low now, and it will have to pull back. This is some very good return damage from Motive, though. Speed has really been messed up here.
Yeah. A lot, not that many SCVs, but a lot of damage has been done in the way of denying mining time, sniping off a tank, just making it a little bit awkward for Speed to optimize now. I still really do like Speed's position, though. This 3rd base from Motive wasn't that crisply timed. He is going to be going into a very fast start. Okay, we are going to be seeing those carriers we were talking about earlier. It's just going to be a more free base carrier variant rather than a fast 2-base carrier. And carriers are very common on these 2-player maps like this, especially when you can abuse the lanes. It's just so much harder for Terran to come out onto the map and do something about it. It does also put the onus on the Terran player to make something happen. They've got like a 3-minute timing window to scout, identify, and execute a timing push in dealing with that carrier threat before they are allowed to get up into that sort of 4-carrier mass interceptor mode.
It'll all be up to whether Speed gets this scout off early or not, but one nice thing about having the early academy, you can easily make those comsats. Really does seem like he neglected that for quite a while, though. I just saw the comsat finishing up in the main, so he had the option of getting these comsats out really early, but didn't opt to do that. He is still in a position where a 2-base push is possible. It's just really going to come down to when these scans actually happen and if they land on the right things. Here we go. Does he see what's going on? A fleet beacon. Hopefully he clicks that. As long as he clicked that, he should know.
Yeah.
Kind of ambiguous building, though. Not really a strange size or anything like that, but he should have clicked that. Speed with 400 APM, he's got to be taking advantage of those clicks.
You'd hope to think so, right? Hopefully he does know. I think he does the way he's playing right now. He wants to start moving out onto the map as soon as possible, knowing that every second is precious in coming out onto the map. He's going to have to take a long time leapfrogging out with turrets, slowly sieging up. He knows there's also a possibility of just being too many Dragoons to handle and getting bowled over right now. So he has to be very tentative with how he opens up this lane to squeeze out the vultures and start establishing some medium amount of map control to keep pushing forward here. If he does somehow catch some Dragoons, that would be huge. He's just looking for anything right now to give him some breathing room to start pushing out onto the map.
Yeah, setting up some vulture mines on the flanks here on the other lanes is very good, because generally best way to deal with a 2-base Terran push when you're going for carriers like this is to rotate, to slow it down as much as possible, and then to rotate to a different lane. Oh my gosh, he lost a couple of Dragoons here to some mines. That's very painful for Motive, but he would like to rotate this army afterwards around behind and try to block any reinforcements coming across the map, which will be mostly Goliaths, and that Dragoons will take a very good trade against that. Speed just getting so much value out of these vultures. Every single area that he's attacking into is just constantly getting value. Hasn't been able to slip vultures into the main or anything like that, but you know that he's looking for that opportunity.
Yeah, he's got another like minute and a half, 2 minutes to make his mind up at how he wants to attack, but he needs to start doing that soon. The first carrier's out. He's still got a little bit of time. It does take a while to get up to that count of 4 with interceptors in mass to actually start to kill the Terran. So he's going to start to push out now, target down as many of these observers and shuttles as he can over his little hit squad of Goliath, supporting this army, allowing him to be much more aggressive in his train towards the rally point of Motive here. These Goliaths acting as like mobile turret platforms make it so much easier to push out onto the map when anywhere you can't actually build a turret.
They'll be essential, of course, in dealing with these Reavers as well, and when the time comes, the carriers will be pushing out and trying to take down these tanks. It's so very important to have those units in high numbers here at the front. Motive is going to take the fight here at the front. Oh my god, those Reaver hits were insane, doing so much damage. His follow-up attack only kills 1 tank, but it could have killed a lot more. And so he's done a bit of a good effort here to slow down speed as he pushes forward. Hasn't decided to do the counterattack thing just yet. Going around the back and cutting off the follow-up Goliaths, though, could actually be huge. There's only about 6 Goliaths in this army, and as soon as all of those are targeted down, the tanks are just completely defenseless to the air damage. 2 Reavers dealing 2 more hits, and a third does lose one of the Reavers, but kills 2 more tanks. He's really doing a great job of slowing this down and biding that time for the 4th carrier to come out.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty great Reaver control here from Motive, showing his caliber in this game. Maybe speed won't be enough quick enough in doing this. Like, he needs to maintain speed so he doesn't just explode in this game, much like the film. And if he is so far being sandbagged quite a lot by Motive. Motive's also going for a little bit of a counter attack now as well to put some pressure on the speed. There are maybe enough carriers to just to hold the line and defend. If he can cut off any reinforcements and no additional Goliaths can get up here, he's gonna have to rely much more heavily on turrets to defend these positions. He's only got like 1 or 2 SCVs to build turrets, so that might not be enough. Maybe Motive can make this work. He has cut off retreat for the time being. Now we'll start to circle around with his army to set up a pincer maneuver as well on these forces. Maybe Motive can make it work.
Okay, well, Motive, he was in position to block the reinforcements, but he's decided to bring his entire army back to surround and destroy this before the reinforcements can ever arrive. No, Zealot speed in this fight is pretty rough. The Zealots... Oh my gosh. I had myself on mute. What am I doing, guys? I'm just casting away without anybody able to hear me.
I could hear.
The surrounding army gets on top. And no Zealot speed in this entire fight is kind of crazy, guys. He is going to clear everything, though, and he actually stops this attack. Where can speed go from a situation like this? Nowhere is the answer.
Wow.
GG. Motive defeats speed. Who saw that coming?
I mean, I didn't. I actually was kind of blown away by how well Motive played in this game. Made speed look a little bit silly, especially that double gas deal at the start. Kind of crazy saying, let's be honest.
I'm a dummy. That's what it is.
You done goofed?
Yeah, I was drinking water and holding down the mute button key so that I could not make sound. And then I just kept holding it.
Nice.
When I started talking.
Good job, buddy.
I realized halfway through what I was saying that I was holding the key. Oh my gosh.
Paul Robertson says South Africa here. Nice, man. some really cool people from South Africa. I also really liked the South African actor in that film, Elysium, with Matt Damon. He was really funny and cool.
He's very famous.
I could never remember his name, but I like him a lot.
All right.
장윤철 선수는 뛰지 않았습니다. 그거에 따라 결과는 달라집니다.
근데 확실한 건 지금 남아 있는 선수들 명단 보세요. 자, 김태경, 장윤철, 원선재, 김민철, 김명훈, 이재호, 유영. 그러니까 토스 입장에서나 적 입장에서나 테란 입장에서.
Well, I'm shocked that I'm saying this right now, but Motive moving on. He's going to be facing off against Queen, man. I feel a little bit robbed right now, Shun. I wanted to see Queen versus Speed.
Right, right. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. I mean, Motive just played a little bit out of his mind. That double gas deal was just a little bit too much for Speed to handle, and did a great job of sandbagging Speed's push with that Reaver control as well. There's so many times you see Protoss players not of like Snow's caliber whiff and just not finding those Scarab connections needed to slow the Terran's advance, but he handled that almost flawlessly. It was really well executed from him.
Yeah, that was extremely well done. Can't take anything away from Motive. Absolutely handled Speed in that game, but it's a tough map. You can see the difficulties there. And he had a great opener. Speed is gonna be eliminated for this week, but we'll probably end up seeing him in the finals.
Yeah, we see so many Zergs going for this fast pull to be safe recently. It just seems like such a trend to like no longer go and be greedy. Like in this matchup as well, like it used to be that overpull was the most standard opening, and then the Zergs started experimenting with more like 11 hatches and stuff. I think like over time we've just realized that being safe is sometimes the most important thing. You only really need to be greedy if you're playing against an opponent that's just so much better than you, and there's no way you could win if you did play safe.
I think more and more players are agreeing with you these days. There we go. He does get the hatchery down. I was afraid that that was going to be delayed. And putting Queen into a worse and worse position. You have to actually send your drone over to the third if you're just going to be blocked, and your opponent can of course put down a pylon and just slow that down even further. But Motive opted for the Nexus here, and so the pylon would have actually slowed down that Nexus, and therefore the therefore the cannon, and might have allowed a Ling to sneak in. So I think he's optimized pretty well here, getting a little bit of an advantage, but not too much.
Yeah. Third hatchery's going down. Nicely timed here. I have to wonder how Motive is going to handle Queen's macro if he just plays a straight up game. I kind of want to see Motive do something like Mini would and like get a very fast like 2-gate pressure build going, slightly earlier +1 timing, slightly earlier leg enhancements, and put the pressure on Queen as soon as possible. I'm not so sure he will go for a style like that though.
Well, your guess is as good as mine, Shun. I'm not sure how Motive is gonna approach this monstrous Zerg player. Queen, absolutely crazy on another level these days. You know, a lot of people forgot this is the 2-time ASL champion. He's like, he's got a certain aura about him, and he had such a strong level of play for so many years, but fell a little bit short in the past too. He really has come back into form though.
Yeah, he's come back in a big way. He did have some dominance for a year or so, just absolutely annihilating every Protoss left, right, and center, seemingly unstoppable in this matchup. Finally, though, people got the better of him, figured him out more, and he did kind of slump a little bit and lost his dominance, but now he's kind of back in a big way, playing his A game. Hopefully we can see more and more great games from him today. And nothing crazy coming out from the timings of Motive. He's just getting a very standard fast Stargate to scout what's what. Is coming back in to scout with his probe as well, keeping an eye on exactly how many Zerglings and drones are being produced at these two locations to help iron out his own build order in responding to what Queen's doing.
Getting a few extra lings out now and continuing to prevent this probe from getting into the main base. He's causing a bit of a headache here for Motive by constantly doing this, and he does catch that probe. Really good moves from Queen. Motive tried to quickly turn that in between the lings and get through into the main, but really good catch overall. And now he still has no idea. He's got to assume that it's probably a lair in a situation like this, where you're cross map at such a far distance, and it would be very difficult to Hydra bust here, but he can't be completely sure, and so that little threat in the back of his mind is really what Queen was going for.
Yeah, could open up another channel for his units to get out there by killing that egg. He knows it's very unlikely that a ling bust or something is coming in right now. We'll not know for sure if it's going to be a 3-hatch Hydra until this Corsair doesn't see anything coming across the map. So he's still a little bit concerned about any possibility of at least a fake Hydra bust coming his way. So we have the second cannon on the way, just as a little bit of insurance policy against that. Doesn't want to start the third until he knows that there's going to be Hydras though. He hasn't seen anything, sees the macro hatcheries as well. So now he knows, oh, okay, I'm pretty safe. He's going to be feeling a lot more comfortable in this game where he's lined up.
I don't think he canceled the cannon. I think he lets it finish here. He's going to be able to move out with those zealots now that the second cannon is done. Ling run by is not nearly as scary as it is with just one cannon. Corsair looking for a Overlord out here on the map and is just barely not finding any here. He finds one in the top left, but I think it's a bit too late.
Yeah, it's too late.
Zero gonna have those, Scourge heading up towards the top left. He's on his way right now, and I don't think he can get this kill.
But he wants to catch the other Corsair coming in and then kill this one as well. But he's going to sacrifice an Overlord to get these 2 kills. He wants to catch 2 Corsairs for 1 Overlord is what he's trying to do here. He at least gets 1 Corsair, which is a very big pickup. Does allow the Overlord to die and trying to trick Motive here with the timings of those Scourge. Would have been really great if he can kill 1 more of these Corsairs. That'd be like maximum value there. He's kind of getting into the main base with another pair of Scourge. The cannons just finished warping in though to zone out anything from happening. It's a really great use of these Scourge just to scout the timings of the Protoss, see how many gateways there are, what the tech timings are, and you can optimize your own build against that.
You also want to see if there's a second Stargate there or not. It's been kind of trendy lately. It's not very strong, but it seems like a lot of pros are playing with the idea of going second Stargate. So getting in there and seeing that Templar Archives just kind of ruling out the second Stargate possibility is good. He knows now that Motive is playing a very straight up game after losing his first Corsair, and Queen with 3 gas online, already making quite a few mutas and Scourge. He has that tempo advantage in the air with that first kill, and he might go for more. He might want to push the issue here now.
Yeah. I'm just wondering how Motive is going to line up in a normal game against Queen, because Queen is so good at doing this sort of 6 hatchery Hydra style, but initially opening with a few Mutalisks and Scourge to put the pressure on. I just don't know how Motive's going to compete with him on a macro level. Like, he's just such a beast when he gets into full swing. If you've not done any kind of like early timing attacks to disrupt his ebb and flow, he's made so many drones right now, and he doesn't need to make many more. He can now just go into pure hatchery production mode and really start to put the pressure onto Motive.
Gonna get a couple of kills here in the natural, looking for those Scourge hits if he can get them. Dodging back and forth here, he gets us Corsair, that's huge. Still has 1 Scourge in the mix as well, and Motive, he's not going to be too happy about that. He's already lost a bunch of probes, and a Corsair on top of it. It's just a little extra kick in the face, a little sand in your eye.
Yeah, it's a great little mini game that you play in that moment where the Scourge is zoning out the Corsairs, but the Mutus is going to try and pick up a few probe kills. He executed that almost flawlessly there, did Queen. Killed about 3 or 4 probes and got a Corsair kill. That's about almost maximum juice out the orange that you can squeeze at the pro level. Has got that +1 flyer carapace as well, making it even harder for these neutron flares to disrupt the count of Scourge coming in to try and hunt them down. Going to be coming into maybe. Oh no, if he catches this High Templar, that's a great pickup for Queen. Suddenly Mo's in a little bit of trouble. Scourge also can zone out these Corsairs from chasing the Mutas. If he gets another one, no way, that's insane. All the Scourge are dead though, so with some chase micro, we'll be able to catch some of these Mutas, but nice splitting off the pack there from Queen to make sure he doesn't lose too much.
Yeah, he split up the pack, and he's got Scourge coming. Motive might not see this. Okay, he does. All right. Very important that he keeps these alive. He's already lost 2 Templars, so he's really not going to have too much Storm. Queen has the opportunity now to shut down the 3rd base. I think there's a very good chance that if Motive wants to come out and try to take that right now, he's just going to get completely overwhelmed and destroyed by these Hydras.
Yeah, this is going to be too much for Motive to handle, I think. He just won't have enough mass to deal with the macro of Queen. He's going to overrun him, and getting a few High Templars sniped makes it even more impossible. We even see a 4th base coming up from Queen. He knows he has so many options. He can like transition into a super late game and get Hive if he wants to and just sit back. Or he can just like power up really heavily and just kill the 3rd base when it does come online. On Polestar though, this 3rd base is a little bit hard to attack into if you do have storms. There's very tight choke points and ramps. So with enough storm, Motive can hold on here, but he's already lost a few Templars.
Still making Scourge. I'm really surprised how much Scourge he's committed to. But it makes sense. He's just going to get rid of those Corsairs, and once they're gone, then he'll easily be able to take over the skies and start to dominate, killing off Templar and sniping down whatever is kind of loose on the edges of the army for Motive. And so he's committed to even more Mutalisks here behind this, looking for this next fight where he can actually wipe out that Protoss Air Force. He's rotating around towards the main, it looks like. Gonna go in there. Is there any Templar with Storm in the main? Does he have one over top of the Assimilator or over top of the Nexus? It doesn't look like it. And so there's a big opportunity here for Queen to take over this main base, start to kill those cannons now.
Yeah, this is a little bit problematic. With the Scourge to zone out, Dragoons are not good against Mutas straight up. Like if you just make one non-stop Mutas versus non-stop Dragoons, the Mutas win almost every single time, especially on attack move. So I don't even know how Motive's gonna be feeling about this game. It definitely doesn't feel good. Like, it's gonna be all kind. Oh, we got a bit of a lag out situation here from Queen. I'm glad that both players were able to remain in the game. That would have been a bit of an upset. But kind of wild. Like, honestly, I don't know how Motive is going to scale against Queen. He's ahead in supply. Like, the Zerg is ahead. Oh, please don't lag out. What is going on? Please don't lag out. Queen is so far ahead right now. I have to wonder if this game ends like this. They can't give this game a draw. Like, Queen is so far ahead. This has to be Queen's victory if there's some kind of technical difficulty here.
All right, we're going to skip forward. We'll be right back.
Yeah. I thought so. They're going to give the free win to Queen because he's too far ahead. Like, it's like anyone with any game sense can see that Queen was winning.
Yeah. It was certainly a difficult spot, that's for sure. He was like sharking around looking for the kill. Yeah, he is gone. Okay. Just wanted to check, make sure.
He was ahead in supply, you know what I mean? Like, ahead in most metrics.
All right, let's go. Okay, so it looks like we had a disconnect for that last game, and KCM made the right call. Queen was so far ahead in that game. He was looking for the closer. It's pretty clear that Queen was going to take that one home, and so he's been given the walkover. As a result, Motive is out, and we're going to move forward to Queen versus Rush. Another great match, actually. This could be, you know, round of 8, round of 4 matchup.
Yeah.
And it would be an absolute banger in the ASL.
Oh, it absolutely would have, saying. I mean, I can't even wait for the next round of 16 to come online and we can bring you those games as well. Because, oh my gosh, has this season of ASL been absolutely astounding. I'm so looking forward to the rest of it. For now, though, we have got KCM. It's a little bit sad that we didn't get to see the last game get closed out by Queen, but it definitely was his game to lose there. He was like probably ahead by, I would say, even like a 95% chance to win in that situation, maybe even a little bit more. It's just so behind was Motive. Not much really can be said about that. Here though, let's see what we got from Queen and Rush. Queen again building this fast pool. We've been talking about this, like Zergs, when they feel confident in themselves, they're going to be wanting to make this earlier pool to make sure there's no disruption that can come their way from taking like a hatchery first. This is how like Yellow used to lose back in the day. Like he was like the king of silver originally, and players like Boxer would just bunker rush his 12 hatch over and over again, and he would never win. Obviously, the early game defense of Zergs has come a long way since then, but the kind of same principle is true. If you're confident in yourself and you can play a straight up game, you probably want to take this early pool just to make sure you don't take any damage early.
Yeah, mixing it in is a really good idea, and getting comfortable playing from not a perfect economic position is a sign of a great player. Queen is going to take this over pool and grabs his hatch and his gas behind it. Almost exactly the same build we saw earlier from BTS. We'll see if it yields similar results, or if Queen can bring this to a win. He's got Rush on his plate, and this guy is a tough meal. He's a strong contender, man. This guy, especially in this matchup, is super scary in the mid and late game.
He's hid one extra pair of lings, so Rush might think this is only 4 lings, but it's actually 6. If he doesn't SCV block, this could be problematic. Yeah, he's not going to SCV block. Maybe, if Queen's got a quick enough time, he can come in just as the 4th Marine is popping out, kill the 4th Marine, and kill one of these Marines that... Oh no, don't come out right now, Rush. You're going to be in trouble if you do that.
Oh, he's coming out to test them. 5 lings at the front here. He's going to dive on top of the Marines now. Here he goes. He sent back 1 ling. Oh, okay. Well,
not too bad.
Not the worst trade in the world.
Yeah, that's about as good as it could have gone for Rush, honestly. Like, he's lucky that didn't go worse. It was a little bit of a mind game from Queen to try and punish the early naked Marine move out. And honestly, that actually went Rush's way. Like, that's one of the best results that we could have seen from Rush. Now he's going to still be able to put on some pressure, maybe force some additional lings. That's huge. Queen does get into the main base, though, gets a full scout off, sees the 2nd barracks, so he knows the timings he needs to worry about going forward. Hasn't decided to throw down a sunken colony. He knows it won't be in time anyway, so instead just going to try and make another couple of pairs of lings maybe to deal with these Marines, who are now finally going to turn around just as the lings are going to be hatching for Queen. So that's a pretty nice economic dent into Queen there from Rush.
Yeah, he did a reasonable job there. More drones popping out, so not forcing a huge response from this Zerg player. He's just made the absolute bare minimum in order to keep himself alive. There's another pair coming out here, so Rush could be pretty happy about that. However, Queen, I think he's in a decent spot going into this mid-game. It's not perfect, but he's managed to get this 3rd hatch in the main. The 2.5 hatch build is underway, and Queen's macro, it's just so strong, man. It is so out of control once he gets into that deep macro game. Once he's really rolling with his drone count, oh my goodness, this guy can pump out more units than just about any other player on Earth.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Rush doesn't have much of a timing attack here because of the cross-map Radiant spawns. He would really love to come out and force some Sunkens right now, but he's thinking maybe I can't even do that. Like, it's just such a long rush distance. He's going to try and go for a move out here, but Mutalisks are about to start. I'm not sure if Queen will even feel the threat of these Marines. I'm kind of curious about the timing of the Mutalisks because they did just start building. If he does somehow commit and pull the trigger and stim across the map, he can make it into the natural expansion, though. Queen might be trying to assume that he's not going to commit to this and now might be punished by it. But the Mutas will finish up just as he's killing the Sunken colony, so it's not like he can get in here and do free damage. So Rush not really getting what he wants out of this situation. He was just bluffing the attack like we thought, and only one Sunken was made. So this is pretty good for Queen.
This is something that Rush was once known for, hitting the stim button and just running across the map, hoping to break through the front with the 2 racks play. It reminds me of some younger players like Soma, who's more recently come onto the scene, who really relied heavily on 2-base Muta in his early days. Rush is kind of the same way, but the Terran version, right? He was super good with the 2 racks and just hitting that timing exactly, like the absolute perfect timing in order to get through. It's just not as good anymore, though, because Zerg players have gotten so good at dealing with these Naked Marine move-outs and handling, figuring out exactly how many Marines are coming and just putting down the perfect number of defenses to deal with it. And really, Queen had the right idea there. Only 1 medic, 1 Sunken colony makes perfect sense. Now he's doing a lot of damage over here in the natural, killing off more SCVs really than he should. There's 3, now about to be 4 turrets here in this natural, and it's really not deterred Queen at all. Look at all the Mutas. They've all been bruised.
Yeah.
Now, that never happens to me, Shin. Usually the turret targets my 1 Muta, and that dies for sure.
Well, you can keep cycling out the one that's low HP to reset the turret targeting. It just requires a lot of APM and shenanigans to make that happen. Usually it doesn't go that way. But he killed like 7 or so SCVs, at least that I could see. That's a pretty significant amount to get. You only need like 6 or 7 going into a normal macro game to feel comfortable, as now the pressure is on and focusing on shaving down this bio threat. You don't want to let the bio ball grow so big that it becomes unmanageable. So he needs to come in here and start clearing off some of these Marines, forcing stims and draining the resources of Rush a little bit. So he just can't build up a big enough force to come out into the battle. Look at this. Rush knows that he needs to rejoin this bio with more and more. Maybe, just maybe, he can break out onto the map with this 4x.
Timings have been slowed down a little bit here for Rush, starting that factory at probably about the 7:30 mark. We didn't see the exact timing on when that started, but it is a little bit slower, a little bit behind schedule. Goes ahead and checks that main base. Was it 4 racks or was that 3 racks
it's
actually
3
on
with
the
the
high
engineering
ground?
bay there, making it look like 4. Excuse me, guys. He's making the 4th barracks now, but yeah, with the engineering bay there, I thought it was 4.
Not a lot of Marine production was what that means. And Queen, he's brought together a pretty good supply of Lings to dive on top of this. Very Soul Kia's going to dive right on to all of these bio forces. Pretty good targeting out of the Marines there, but certainly not enough.
No.
Only a few Mutas go down and a full group remains after the fact.
I mean, this is pretty brutal for Rush. This is why you sometimes see 4x be the option of choice, because it gives you a little bit extra bio ball to work with. Now going to be even harder to max out his army strength yet again. Queen's going to be droning like crazy, getting this 3rd gas online, sharking around the main base to pick off building SCVs. Anything he can find at this point is going to be great. He's already done the necessary moves he needs to for this early mid-game. Everything now is just icing on the cake for him. We do see finally the vessel tech coming online for Rush, but it's going to be a little late here. He does scan the bottom right and see the expansion. He can tell how long he's had that expansion by the fact that the creep spread is full there, so he knows that he's had that 3rd base for quite some time. He knows this isn't like a crazy 2-base play from Queen, where he's just macroing off 2.5 hatch on 2 bases. He knows this is a much more standard game, so he's now got the pressure on him to make something happen, because he knows just how strong Queen is going to be going into the late game if he doesn't.
Well, what Queen did there is not without its cost, right? He did slow down his drone production. He didn't build a bunch of drones down there at bottom right. It ended up paying off. The fact that he was only building lings off of 2.5 hatchery until he killed the Bioforce has slowed down Rush by a lot, but he's going to follow it up with a push down towards bottom right and a drop into the main at the same time. He's taking the long way around to obfuscate this drop coming in as much as possible. We'll see where the Mutalists are at the moment when the drop arrives, because if they're back at home, you'll be able to deflect this with relative ease, but if they're over here, either dealing damage to the natural or trying to fight this Marine Medic Ball. Wait, he might actually dive on this completely. He's got a few lings here to tank damage, and the Mutas are going to get a bunch of kills on this reinforcement train, but that drop coming in, this is a scary moment here. There's almost nothing back at home. Oh, Scourge!
They're not going to be in position to catch this. He has no idea. They are going to be dropping into the very corner of the base as well. This is maximum value for Rush, getting away with this. Unless Queen can somehow have the star sense to pull. He's actually pulling some lurkers back at this moment. Maybe to go through the Nidus Canal, or he was assuming that maybe a drop play had high potential. Pretty good scan and target of those lurkers. Getting on top of the drone line is huge, though. He's going to kill at least half of those drones. It's a pretty big pickup. He's also getting some good target firing on those lurkers as well. Now shuffling back these Marines. The Mutas will clean those out, but now there's not much defending this bottom right. He's going to make a dive. There's only 3 lurkers underneath this Overlord. He's going to have to target the Sunkens first, though, because like you were saying before, with attack move, you kind of have to shoot the lurkers if there's an Overlord underneath the stack. He's still going to break through, though. The additional lurkers being targeted down one at a time. Can Rush do it? He's barely breaking through. Mutas are just now about to swing in to save the day, though. Beautiful irradiate on that clump of Mutas to try and help maximize the value trades, but didn't kill any of that infrastructure in the way of the drones. So just breaking through the Sunkens and the lurkers isn't good enough here from Rush.
Wow, what a hold there by Queen. Really fantastic stuff out of him. Even though he didn't have the vision on that corner of his base, which he absolutely should have, his response was impeccable.
Yeah.
Pulling the lurkers through the Nidus just in the nick of time. He had the position set up, unlike what BTS did previously. He had the Overlord over top, kind of allowing him to retain those lurkers until kind of the end of the fight there. Really, really good stuff out of Queen. Now he's found himself in a pretty decent spot, but he's not out of the woods just yet. Rush is still on the prowl here. He's looking for more damage. He's going to run right up here and try to hit this Sunken Colony. Dark Swarm goes down. Scourge coming forward. Great target fire on that Scourge. Really, really good target fire there to keep that vessel alive.
Yeah, it's so hard to do. You just have to practice being able to click that precisely to be able to manage to get those target fires going for you as Terran. It's such a tiny little hitbox. Another drop coming into the main base, but we have Scourge in much better positions this time around. He scans ahead of time, so he knows not to just dive in there. That's a beautiful scan, not to just lose this dropship for free. He can't afford to waste anything else now. He needs all hands on deck to make this game work. Has got this third gas online soon, but look at this. Like, maybe, just maybe, somehow Rush can stabilize this game state. If he does double expand now, and Queen doesn't attack anytime soon, there is a way of Rush still making a very strong game out of this.
Well, Queen is only just now getting his 4th base online. He was slowed down quite a bit by all that aggression. It's going to be a bit before this this 4th gas starts to kick in. Maybe there's something that Rush can do. Maybe he can keep hitting these bases with the radiates and get a couple more drops in. If he manages to drop bottom right and kill that 4th base, even just one time, it's going to start to become very Rush favored, because the vessel count is going to continue to grow, and their radiates cannot be sustained with only 3 gas.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of irradiates on Defilers and Lurkers in the bottom right, trying to find a window to come in there. Hasn't got enough Fire Bats to break through under Dark Swarm, though. That's why we see a big round of Fire Bats being made in the top right. He wants to force a weird situation where Queen only has like 1 or 2 Lurkers under Dark Swarm and thinks he's safe, but then the round of Fire Bats come in and just blow him away. He is doing that drop in the bottom right like we were talking about. There is a counterattack at the 12 o'clock position. Queen trying to hit his 4th base, but now he's losing his own. If he kills that hatchery, that's going to be huge for Rush.
Yeah, Rush will definitely be able to save this one. His hatchery can fly. It's called the command center, and it is really, really strong. Oh, is he going to get that kill? He does get one vessel kill. Lurkers pop out of the Nidus to save the day again, but this is a really rough position now. It's getting worse and worse by the minute. Firebats coming forward here, trying to fight the Lurker under Darkstorm. Can he actually break this? No. He will be pushed back for the time being, but Queen dangerously low in supply. He's going to have a really hard time transitioning into this Ultra Tech with only 3 gases online, and is still struggling to even get that 4th base started once again. Darkstorm here at the front, still keeping himself alive. Does he have Plague yet? A Plague on all those vessels would be insane. Oh gosh, no burrow. Here comes the Eraser trick to start to finish off all these drones. It's really looking bad for Queen now.
Yeah, this is really painful. We didn't even get most of those drones out to safety through the Nidus canal as well. This is problematic, Saiyan. And another drop coming into the main. Hopefully Queen is paying attention. He has got the Scourge there to connect. He just needs to react. He's not reacting quickly enough, though. There will be some Firebats and Marines making their way downtown into the main base. And Firebats can kill Zerglings and drones very quickly. Does get a nice little Plague on them, though, to make it easier to cost-efficiently clean up this attack. But it doesn't matter. This is buying precious time for Rush to come back down to the bottom right again. It's really taxing the task switching ability of Queen. He's barely hanging on by a thread. See, now Rush comes in the bottom right. There's 1-2 punch to distract Queen on the left. Now he's coming down to right. He's trying to run by to the main base in this bottom right as well. It's a great position for Rush to get up into. He knows that there's no way of Queen getting up on this high ground once from the low ground once he's in there. So this is worrisome for Queen now. He's got a nice Plague on these vessels, but losing this 4th hatchery again could be game ending. Rush is on 4 bases right now.
Rush is just growing and growing, and Queen is getting stagnant on 74 supply. Is just not growing at all. He's not becoming larger, and Rush is going to overwhelm him slowly but surely. We're going to see battle cruisers come out here soon, no doubt, and those are going to cost so much Scourge just to deal with. He's hasn't been able to really reduce the vessel count until now. Killing off a bunch of these vessels is amazing, but the pressure that's being levied against him, it really can't be overstated. Firebats are going to push forward here now against this 1 sunken colony and 1 lurker. He won't be able to hold with the Nidus going down from the high ground. Man, these Zerg players really got to start putting the Nidus a little bit farther away from that right-hand side, man. That is so painful to lose.
Yeah, you see it happen quite a few times. GG finally called from Queen. What a game from Rush, showing some absolute stellar understanding of Terran versus Zerg. Kind of blown away by how strong his performance was. Queen just not able to handle the heat, and he's being forced out of the kitchen.
Wow, that's a really good statement from Rush.
Yeah.
That was not a great position, man.
No, he was even being cute and hiding that fire buttons, the Overlord in the main base, so that he could run into the mineral line later on while Queen was distracted. Yeah, Rush is playing.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Rush is playing
That's
pretty
funny.
crazy, good right now.
Wow, I really thought we were gonna see Queen win that, but a mid-game Terran spike is crazy.
Yeah, hang on, just 1 second. I need to quickly be right back.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. Sec. All right.
Let's get it.
저는 유영진 대 김태경 두 선수의 최근 한 달간 상대 전적은 2대 0으로 유영진 선수를 김태경 선수가 누르고 있습니다.
김태형 선수가 최근에도 돌아와서 게임을 하는 걸 또 봤는데 잘하더라고요. 예, 확실히 클래스는 어디 안 가는 것 같고요.
Wow, Rush with an amazing statement there in that last game, showing that he is completely capable of taking on Queen, even from a deficit, even from a pretty sour position, honestly, after losing that first bio ball and taking quite a bit of damage on his SCV line. Puts together an excellent attack, an immense amount of pressure. This is the way that we expect to see players like Speed taking out top level Zergs, but Rush is absolutely capable of playing at that level.
Yeah, Rush is just so good, man. He's one of those Terrans you can never count out. He's got so much experience and high-level execution. As long as he's playing on form, you better be scared of him. He's one of the most capable Terran players out there right now. He's just not the new thing, right? There's a lot of people looking at Speed and seeing him as the new shiny, but the reality is there's some of these other guys that are still around playing absolutely out of their mind.
For sure. Rush, he's on that short list of players who could potentially take an ASL season, but hasn't been able to do it quite yet. Other big names, Hero, of course, Best, Bisu, these guys who are just right at the edge of being able to over and over again take away an ASL, but haven't quite made it there yet. Rush, is this his season? He certainly is looking on form.
Yeah, the amount of like ability you need to actually break through and take the whole tournament is just so insane. Like, you even need a bit of luck going your way as well as being one of the best players in the entire tournament. It's so hard to make the stars align for you to actually get that title. You have to be something special to make that a consistent endeavor, like we saw Sulky being able to do so. Times are changing though. Doesn't mean that you're always going to see the same champion. You know, this time around we might be having a different champion as well. Have to wait and see how that tournament pans out. Got a fast factory play from Rush here, but honestly it got slowed down a teeny tiny bit by Bisu. Didn't want to go for like a bunker expand or anything on this map. It's probably much more safer just to go for, you know, fast factory into expand on a map like this with the high ground to low ground transition. It's just so many potential problems that can come your way from early zealot pressure that this seems to be the more safer way of playing on it.
Pull these Marines back, and he's ready with the SimCity to begin defending this harassment. SCV is being a bit of a Nartosis SCV at the moment, staying on the wrong side there, but does finish off that factory. And he didn't pull that back in time. Oh, yeah. That's a little bit unfortunate. One down, and the SCV is behind. Oh boy, that was a little bit rough.
Yeah, he needs to kill that
Send in that second zealot.
Nicely done by Bisu there. Vulture will come out, but that's a pretty big win for Bisu to get any damage with those zealots. Probably with good control from Rush, he doesn't lose nearly as much there. So a little bit of an issue there. There's no fast nexus behind this or anything, so it's not like Rush is like in trouble, but it is nice not to lose so many Marines early on so that you can more cost efficiently deal with this initial pressure of Dragoons and stuff. We basically don't want to make a bunker for as long as possible in this situation. That's why we see the command center coming down. He's just going to stay on the high ground with his Marines and Vulture. He would love to send out the Vulture to harass more in the early game, maybe slip it into the base of BC, but he knows that that's not a possibility. He knows he needs to keep that Vulture back to help deal with the first Dragoon timing so he doesn't just die.
Yeah, that's the problem with losing those first few Marines. Wasn't quite perfect on the body blocking there, and things looked like they might start to spiral out of control, but Rush does get a handle on things pretty quickly as soon as the Vulture pops out. Now, a starport getting placed down here in the bottom right-hand corner. I was wondering about this follow-up from Rush. He's going to try and, yeah, like you said, hold off on building that bunker as long as possible. But as a result of that, he's really going to keep the Protoss player a long way away from his base and open up an opportunity to slip some vultures out here and maybe slide down towards that bottom right to enter a dropship. This is a little bit risky, actually, pushing this far across the map right now. He's going to set these mines up. Does need to bail away from the Dragoon. Oh my goodness, he almost lost that first vulture.
Yeah.
That would have been really painful, especially after going for an early dropship like this.
Yeah, he is kind of obfuscating that he wants to go for a drop play by playing like this. Like, BC will be a little bit confused, like, hang on, what's going on here? He probably won't be able to sniff out the dropship play because of the way that Rush is playing right now. And having a few scouting mines out on the map to see the movements will make it much more easier to align himself for this dropship, getting inside the main base and potentially doing a lot of damage to Bisu if he doesn't have 2 or 3 Dragoons at least waiting there. This could be problematic.
We'll see if this lines up right as the observer comes out, because it's a really great point, right? The mines get set up over at the third base and right in front of the main of Bisu. And so he's going to pull Dragoons as the observer pops out to start clearing out those mines. And that's the perfect opportunity to dive the main with that dropship. So we're going to see that observer come out here in just a second, and we'll see where these Dragoons go with that. See, here comes the observer. Dragoons are just kind of sitting here at the front for now, not looking to clear the mines, but not at home defending either, and this drop could do massive damage.
Yeah, BC's thinking about the mid-game going Arbiters. Meanwhile, here come some Vultures in your main base, buddy. Have fun dealing with that. I don't know how he's going to cost-efficiently get ahead of the curve of this game now. He's losing so many of these pros. Pretty good target firing from Rush as well, getting pretty maximum value on those. This is kind of wild damage. He is getting there eventually to clean this up, but that's a pretty big win for Rush, making things a lot less potent for Bisu now going into this mid game. He also got a pretty big scout off in the main base. That's one of the best things about going for Vulture Drop, is you also get a full read on the tech in the main base pretty much, but he didn't really get down. Did he actually see the Citadel? I don't actually know if he saw the Citadel or not. If he didn't see the Citadel, it might be hard for him to sniff out the Arbiter follow-up, but I have a feeling he still knows.
I think he was within range there. He was right up inside the mineral field, so I think he must have seen that. Looks like he'll get one more probe here with that Vulture being sent in the main, but it's peanuts in comparison to the damage that was done earlier. Rush looking very good right now with his siege mode finished up and lots of turrets back at home. But one thing about this map is that it's very difficult to shore up your main base to really defend yourself properly from either drop or recall. You have to place a huge amount of turrets because it's almost 180-degree coverage that you need.
Yeah, well, BC's going to have to play perfectly from the rest of the game because he's taking 9 so he can get an earlier gas online. It'd be very difficult for him to expand any other way if he wants to get a gas, because you don't expand to the right because it's too far to cover all those bases. But this is a very easy base for now Rush to push into by seizing control of these pizza slices later on. So now Bisu has to play like an absolute god and maintain the game state that he wants for the rest of time, because if he does make a mistake and allow Rush to come out onto the map with a timing push, he's going to easily dispatch of this base at 9 o'clock later on. So hopefully Bisu can execute a very nicely timed game plan here and keep Rush on the back foot for as long as possible.
Well, you know what? Rush hasn't built an academy yet.
Only just now.
Which I thought for sure. Okay, there's the academy. It's actually on the high ground over there. He starts his comsat. Time to start saving some of that energy, because Bisu is going to try and utilize his cloaking fields to optimize his trades against Rush's eventual push. I don't know if we have any DTs out here, but that could be a factor as well. If he starts dropping DTs and playing with those units in the main base or over here at the front, then he could force out a lot more scans from Rush and then really make it hard for him to push without any like solid detection, like a science vessel or anything like that.
Yeah, we see the setup to deal with that now. He probably has got a DT or two in that shuttle, just as some potential. If Rush wasn't dotting his I's and crossing his T's, there'd be a way of Bisu coming in here and doing a little bit of shenanigans. As it stands, though, I don't think he's really going to get a lot done. And look at this. The supplies are actually pretty Rush favored right now. So I'm a little bit worried for Bisu going forward.
Yeah, it's hard to take that much early damage from a vulture drop and find yourself in a good mid-game position. And so Rush is just going to move out here, start to take this mineral only, and I think he's going to do the sensible thing here, try to take 4 bases while Bisu sits back and tries to get into his Arbiter play. He's actually moving a lot farther forward than I would have thought. Getting pretty aggressive with this early army while sending in the drop as well. See if he's got a tank in here. Just a couple of vultures so far. Gonna go over to the natural as well. Try to get even more damage here.
Yeah.
While this army is pushing forward. Yeah, Bisu pulled everything back. Look at all the army coming back here for Bisu. And the Rush is going to have this time now to just get into an insanely good spot. Look at how difficult this position is going to be to break, dude. How are you going to get through that?
Rush knows that the stasis timing is just going to be a tiny bit slower than usual. It's about, it should be about now, but he's got like an extra 10, 20 seconds to wait until that actually comes online. He can't even engage the army right now. He's going to do a very perfectly executed attack on knocking out that Nexus just as the stasis upgrade and energy is available to Bisu. Can try and pin this army down and not let it escape though. So Bisu might try and bulldog this army now with a beautiful stasis in the back line of tanks, trying to get in here, but it's a very tight choke. It's hard for these zealots to get good surface area, despite there not being that many vultures to buffer. It is doing a pretty good job of clearing out this army, though, without having to use even the spell of stasis, so that's actually a pretty nice pickup there. And blocking these vultures from getting in is a nice win for Bisu as well. Maybe there's a way of making this work.
Well, I mean, the trade is not the worst thing in the world, but Rush managed to kill that third already. Getting rid of the third base and killing a bunch of probes here means that Rush is actually ahead in supply. It's still a long shot for Bisu to try and come back in this game, even though he cleared that army. Let's see if he can get a really nice recall in, though, and start to disrupt the Terran while he takes this third and potentially goes forward to take his fourth. Oh gosh, Dragoons coming out and getting splattered by mines is pretty bad. Coming into this base here at the top center, Rush already mining this. Well, Bisu is just waiting for this Nexus to come online. It does not bode well, but I mean, the recall is still available. He didn't lose that Arbiter. He's floating around down towards the bottom right. Where is this Arbiter going, actually?
Yeah, I'm not so sure, but there's a chance of Bisu to turn this into a game. It's just going to be very difficult. With Rush having this early third gas and killing that base of Bisu, he's aligned himself so much better than he should be able to in this current game state. Bisu is definitely on the back foot now, trying to play catch up. If he can find a really good recall, that would be nice, but I just don't think he's going to get it. Like, Rush should have enough production here. He's sharking around with this observer to see, okay, is there any weak spots here? Where are the mines? Where's the best place to maybe place a recall in a few moments? He's got the Arbiter coming around towards the third base location, so now he's probably thinking about maybe seeing if he can set up for something there, but he hasn't really got a lot of army to work with, saying, so I'm a little bit concerned for Bisu. He might just want to sit back and power up and make more bases.
I think the one way that Bisu can win this is if he gets this recall into a perfect position and delays Rush enough for these extra bases to come online, because I think if he just sits here in macros and Rush pushes him, he's going to lose. He's never going to have that army online in time, and so he's aiming here with the Arbiter over towards the top right, but oh my goodness,
I don't think he will.
Isn't going to pull the trigger. Another turret is going to be built here by Rush. It's a pretty serious thick turret line that Rush has established over there at that top right. I don't know if he can even get through there with the Arbiter and the recall.
I don't think Bisu even wants to, though. I think Bisu's just threatening the idea of a recall while expanding and transitioning. We even see carrier tech coming online, operational now. When carriers do finally arrive, maybe, just maybe, he can turn this into a favorable game state. For the time being, though, he's in a bit of trouble. I think he knows that if he tries to recall now and it fails, he's just dead. There will be nothing to stop the push of Rush. So, if anything, a recall might be the way he loses this game even more. So he wants to sit back and try and keep Rush on the defensive, worrying about the possibility of a recall while he's getting this 5th base online, while he's transitioning into carriers. The longer this game goes on, maybe, just maybe, Bisu can finally find a favorable game state.
Yeah, this is a little bit funny, right? Like, just pretending to do the recall or just faking out the recall over and over again. It has Rush kind of scared. He hasn't taken his 4th base. He definitely could have taken that quite a long time ago. He's built a ton of turrets. They're like 8 turrets over at that 3rd base. He's built mines everywhere, just prepping for this recall. And Bisu's played this game in kind of a funny way, kind of a counterintuitive way. He's managed to get himself into 5 bases, and Rush still hasn't pushed out, even though he has a greater supply.
Yeah, Rush will now be a little bit annoyed about this, and I think he scans and sees the situation. So now he's like, okay, full steam ahead. I'm going to take my mineral only and just push. And he knows he's got probably a few minutes to come down in here and get on top of Bisu before he can get up to 6 carriers. 3 carriers isn't really going to do much. But once you get 6, that's when they can really start to chew through the Terran metal. So has to hopefully land some really good EMPs on his Arbiters, because he's got like 4 to 6 statuses available to him. Oh, he's sharking around for potentially a recall. Now that Rush is pushed out, he's now going to maybe do a delayed recall, or at the very least try and pull back the army of Rush by faking it out here. With both Arbiters, you have to imagine he's wanting to commit to this. That's why he's respecting. Oh, don't get these EMP'd though. This is a big mistake from Bisu if these get EMP'd. Just going to stasis the vessel. That's a really good use of the extra energy available to you, just to stasis to cancel out the EMP potential. Now though, Rush is frustrated. He wants to go full steam ahead and push. There's so many stasis available for Bisu though. If Rush makes one small miscalculation, he's going to get so many tanks stasised.
Yeah, there are a ton of stasises available, and really, he just needs to buy time. Just sandbag this push as much as possible. Even getting a bunch of vultures here is fine. He's not worried about getting the absolute perfect stasis on tanks. If that comes, it's fantastic, but anything he can do to slow this down is fantastic. Oh, another great stasis there. And he baits out the EMP as well, so he's really slowing this down. Rush is getting closer and closer, but we're about to hit, what is this, going to be 7 carriers?
That's 4
He's got
Stargates.
4 on the way.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's going to be 3 into 7 rather than 3 into 6, which gives him a lot more punching power. He just has to hang on. A few valuable minutes here is all Bisu needs. Rush knows it, though. He's trying to entrench himself so deeply with these tanks that Bisu is forced to engage him. Not quite able to find it, though, and keeps stasising these science vessels over and over again, preventing any critical EMPs from wiping out the energy that's available to Bisu and denying these statuses. And another Arbiter's ready and waiting with another 200 energy. He needs to just keep splitting his tanks and pushing into this, but it might be too late now. Bisu's got this other main base setting up and lots of carriers finishing. I don't know, man. This is kind of getting crazy right now from Bisu. And another stasis on these science vessels. And the carriers have finally arrived, saying, what a game is this? I don't even understand what's happening right now. Somehow, someway, Bisu's clawed his way back into a favorable game state. Rush was just too slow in breaking his way down to this mineral-only location.
Dude, Rush is maxed, and he didn't build any Goliaths. He had no idea that this is what Bisu was up to. Real lack of scouting, honestly. Here for Rush, pretty clearly he's gonna lose this game, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, everything's gonna die here in one of the worst trades you've ever seen in your life. Protoss trading so insanely well. We lost about 70 supply, maybe 80 supply worth of units there for Rush, and only about 20 supply of Bisu's went down. Crazy good trade there.
Yeah.
Crazy good, and now he's got another 4 carriers on the way, by the way.
I think he
4 more carriers are in
I
production.
think he was just saving so much energy for the fact that there was arbiters and he was constantly scanning the Protoss army and wanting to keep energy in the reserve to make sure even if the stasis is activated on all of his vessels, he still have plenty of comsat scans to keep scanning underneath those arbiters to make sure his army could trade, but as a result didn't identify just how potent this carrier transition was going to be, and now is going to pay full price for that. He's only sitting back on these 4 bases, macroing back up to max, while BC's already maxed, has so many bases, and now can start sharking around the map with these carriers as well. This game is completely turned on its head.
Absolutely, Bisu is looking to be in a really tough spot, and it's wild how many turnarounds we've had this week of KCM, guys. Our week 8, the week of the comeback, honestly, there's been a ton of back and forth games, and this is no exception. This could swing again if Rush manages to get on top of these carriers, but I just can't imagine that happening. There are so many carriers here, and he's got the arbiters.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you ever see this combination of units, Shun.
Right.
Aside for, like, you know, in a whatever, 4v4 or 5v5 sort of situation.
Ooh, that's a
BGH
brutal stasis as well, saying so many tanks in that back line. Now, with the Dragoon support coming in, there's not much siege tanks left to buffer against that. He's going to trade so efficiently as Bisu. There is barely enough Goliaths here to try and target down one of those carriers. But now we're up to 10, even with that one falling. This becomes a more and more untenable position for Rush. Bisu's just microing back and trying to play absolutely maximum value. Pretty good target firing on some of these carriers, though. We'll take them down to a count of 9. Bisu needs to attack his own buildings, deploy the interceptors, and then go back in. They deploy so slowly if you just go in and attack like normally, so you want to deploy them manually on your own buildings and then keep them moving so the interceptors don't actually go back inside the carriers.
I think he made a mistake, actually, in the last fight where he let the carriers or the interceptors go back into the carrier, and when he sent them out a second time, they were actually really kind of haphazardly coming out, and Rush was able to gun down a lot of interceptors. Now he's pushing forward again here with a pretty overwhelming number of interceptors. Can he actually push back this incredibly strong force of Rush? He's gunning down another carrier, almost gets one. He's actually wiped out a lot of these interceptors, and the base over here in the center left is about to go down. Rush isn't growing right now, so it's still a little bit Bisu favored. I mean, there's 3-4 bases down in the bottom right hand corner, so how much do these actually matter? There's a big recall, bunch of Templar up here on the high ground, and Dark Templar mixed in. Here comes a scan here to get rid of a lot of those, but done a lot of damage to the overall army of Rush. And are there enough Goliaths here to stand against this number of carriers? I don't think so.
Yeah, definitely not saying. There was even a couple of Dark Templars ripping through some of those Goliaths with Warp Blades just a moment ago. There's hardly any Goliaths yet. The count has really dried up from Rush now. Bisu being very tentative and calm with his defense. Nice little beautiful defensive recall as well, getting some high temperatures on the high ground so we can storm from up there as well. There's just not enough production in Rush right now to keep producing the amount of Goliaths that are prerequisite in dealing with these carriers anymore. It's just too much for him to handle, and Bisu's churning away on multiple bases to keep replacing these interceptors, so even just like trying to target those down is not going to be a win condition here from Rush anymore.
Yeah, he's drying up. He hasn't been growing. When you're playing in a game like this, a carrier game, it's really essential to continue to grow here as the Terran player. He's sniping down more bases, but I doubt he gets this one, and so does Rush. He tops out Bisu, bringing this one back with some really interesting fake out. arbiter play.
Yeah.
You really don't see a game like that every day, Shin. That was a bit of a strange one.
Definitely a strange one, really obfuscating the win conditions you even want to go for there, making it look like you want to set up for a big recall play when really you're just sandbagging for your own transition. Completely threw Rush through a loop there, and Rush just got tunnel vision on dealing with the Arbiter phase and just didn't even see the carrier transition coming enough to punish it. Really unfortunate for him. Like, just when he had an opportunity to kill move Bisu, it was a little bit too late, unfortunately for him.
그러니까 스테이스 빌드 쓰거나 리커라고 근데 거기서 와 대박인데?
그쵸.
That was a crazy game.
Wow. What the heck?
Yeah, it was a really bizarre game.
It's one of those games where you're playing as Terra and you're like, what is this Protoss even doing? Like, what the hell are they doing? Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? And then, oh, carrier.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, frick. I waited too long. I was sitting here like wondering what's gonna happen or what's going on
Right.
for too long, and they were just making carrier.
Plus, he's holding scans because he knows that if he statuses all the vessels, that he needs to constantly chain scan for the fight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Really wild.
That's what he thought that BC was doing. He thought that BC was setting up to just stasis all the vessels and then just plow him on the ground because there's not enough scans to continuously, detect everything. And then you can also like send in Dark Templars one at a time as well, and you will eventually run out of scan energy. And Rush was trying to avoid that happening, but that was the exact thing that BC wanted to get the carrier transition underway.
I think Rush was thinking the same thing that I was when I was saying, like, the only way that Bisu can win this is if he gets a great recall and then Rush takes too long to clean it. And, the 5-base economy comes online because he lost his third and then he went, like, triple expansion afterwards. It's so hard to live long enough to make those actually worth something, so...
That's the thing with Starcraft, though. If you don't know what your opponent is doing, you just need to play optimal and kill him. And unfortunately, Rush forgot to do the play optimally and kill him part. Like, he took way too long to actually execute. Even if he couldn't figure it out.
He was doing more like try not to lose.
Right.
Rather than like try to win,
Yeah. He was being too careful, unfortunately.
I think Artosis could learn from that game.
He would just look
careful.
He would just look at that game and be like, "See, Protoss can do anything."
Captain, careful.
Yeah.
Sometimes being careful, you'll lose games you're not supposed to.
It's curiosity killed the cat and cautiousness killed the Terran sometimes as well.
It's like that Miyamoto Musashi line. It's like every strike should be like poised to kill.
Yeah.
When you fight someone with a sword, you try to strike them to kill them rather than trying to hit their sword, because a lot of people try to hit their sword.
Right. Yeah.
Like someone tries to hit you with a sword, the human reaction is to deflect it. You know what I mean? Hit their sword.
Right. Yeah. You see that a lot in choreography in like films where doesn't look like they're even trying to hit each other. You know what I mean? That's the thing. If someone, if every blow looks like it has the potential to kill you, then you're going to do everything you can to not let it kill you, which means you might be then off balance, right? Because you had to deflect it a certain way or shuffle your footwork a certain way, and then suddenly the next blow does kill you or whatever.
Yeah, and also like a lot of people, they're like kind of aiming for the other person's sword, sort of, to try and deflect or to like continue the fight or parry the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you have to have follow through, right? If you're aiming for the sword, then you're not going to follow through if they miss the block. You know what I mean? Like
it's the same with punching as well. Like you don't punch to connect with their face. You like punch to push your fist through their face, because when it does connect, you want more power coming. You don't just want to like clip their jaw a little bit. You want to follow through with that punch.
Yeah, punch the back of their head
rather
than the front.
Exactly. The way you line it up and set it up, yeah.
And Rush was punching the gloves.
Pretty much. He was literally just tapping gloves. He was like just reaching out and like tapping Bisu's gloves and like range finding him constantly, and that was it. At least initially.
Yep.
He's like testing the jab range and then got knocked out.
There's not a great analogy for what Bisu, or boxing analogy for what Bisu was doing, but
he was
setting up for a haymaker.
Well, he was kind of was. He was
setting up
just
for a
staying
haymaker.
on the outside for most of the game. You know, like he was making it look like he wanted to come into the inside, but he was staying on the outside the entire time. And he was like switching up to southpaw to throw off Rush a bit too much, and then switch back into orthodox right at the end.
All right, let's go.
Let's get it.
진짜
할 말 없죠.
할말 없지.
아니면 우승자라고 해도 안 어색하고 할 말 없는.
Broodwar's playing a really great series so far here in week number 8.
보스가 막판에 포시
Putting out some really great games, including that last one, Bisu.
바로 못 갑니다.
그렇죠.
죽었다 깨도
Managing to hold off Rush of all people. You know, Rush, one of the most aggressive and
90만 원이기 때문에
kind of aggro Terran players out there. Looked a little bit slow in his pushing and the way that he was playing. He was a bit timid.
Yeah. I think Bisu was way more comfortable switching up his game plan on the fly than Rush was, and Rush was just in that like orthodox thinking mode, and Bisu was the guy switching his gears constantly, staying on the outside and tricking him and being as slippery as possible. And right when Rush got the most frustrated was right when Bisu was going to go on the inside and punish him, and unfortunately Rush just looked a little bit silly there at the end and unable to deal with that. I kind of get him holding his scans to deal with the arbiters and DT potential, because he knows that all of his vessels can get stasis, so but that means there's no scouting information to deal with that carrier transition. He just fell flat on his face.
Well, we're gonna have a gas here from Soulkey. I was half expecting him to cancel this, but he actually went 9-pool gas.
One hatch lurker, please. One hatch lurker, please.
I don't know if
won't
it's gonna
be.
be one hatch lurker, but he's definitely gonna make 6 lings, and he's gonna attack Bisu. If Bisu's not ready for this, it's gonna be really painful.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to pull probes. We're gonna have to do a lot to stop this incoming attack, because 9-pool speed, the lings get here so quickly.
Right.
You're only gonna be having probably like 2 zealots out, with the 3rd zealot just starting, and it's gonna be really hard to keep that alive. But not let any lings in as well. That's really important.
Yeah, 9-pool speed is a great metagame play in dealing with this gateway in the natural. That's why we didn't see gateway in the natural for quite a long time back in the day, because it was very common for Zergs to do this kind of build on the ladder. It's very easy to deny with like a forge and double cannon, but with gateway opening, it's a lot more problematic. There's a lot more micro that needs to occur. You need to block your ramp and stop the gateway being targeted down. It's a nightmare situation for the pros. He has to block the ramp with a zealot and a probe, and also defend the other zealots that are coming out of the gateway. He's instead going to try and defend the ramp with probes only, so he's got 2 zealots defending this. So far so good from Bisu. It's a big skill check that's coming out from Soulkey. You have to navigate this decision tree perfectly. He is trying to pressure the ramp with a couple of Zerglings. Bisu did a good job though thus far of getting 3 zealots out. Really nicely handled so far from the Protoss player. But Soulkey still has a lot of threat now that this speed is finished.
Yeah, he's still making lings as well. He's gonna go for this probe. Oh, he's gonna get it. I can't believe that Ling went over the left or the right hand side. Wait, that looked visually really funny.
These ramps are
Gonna
weird.
go into the main now, trying to get on top of this cannon. He does get on top of the cannon. That's gone. No cannon inside this main base. I would have loved to see Bisu just build a cannon in here right away, because you know with the Ling speed you're gonna let something slip by for sure. Coming down here to kill this Zealot if he can. Oh my god, that Zealot's so slippery though. Actually manages to thread the needle with that, keeping it alive. And the gateway is still there. A fourth Zealot pops out.
That's crazy.
That's actually huge. The fourth Zealot coming out is really big.
Yeah, this game is not over just yet. We still might be seeing a closeout from Sulky. There's a lot of Zerglings here, but he's not doing a great job of targeting down these Zealots, and the gateway is still alive. This is a crazy game. He's trying to get on top of the main base and kill as many of these probes as possible, because he knows a transition is likely, so he needs to make sure he dents the economy of Bisu enough that he can still transition himself. He is going to be making a third hatchery down in the main to macro up here. He knows there's a strong possibility of a counter-attack from Bisu after this attack is finished, so he needs to also get a lot of safety in his own macro and build this hatchery in his main base rather than a third base location, and that will also give him more lava to keep the pressure on. But Bisu's done a great job of holding off this early pressure.
Oh yeah, this is so hard to deal with, especially with a person the caliber of Solki. Oh my goodness, the pressure is immense, but he's dealt with it perfectly so far. The way that he blocked the ramp with the probes, and then the way that he was cycling in and out the Zealots, making sure that the highest HP ones were the ones defending the gateway, where the lower ones were defending the ramp. Absolutely beautiful. And now he's got the full wall of Zealots here at the back, and the gateway still lived. It's crazy how much that actually matters.
Yeah.
That is going to help him to get this Cybernetic score down so much faster.
Right.
And he could throw it down here shortly after getting this Nexus. The pressure is going to be immense from Bisu's side now. Once the... Oh my gosh, and a probe is out on the map too. He's going to get in here for a scout as well. Make sure that there's no Hydra Den. Dude, Bisu is playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, Bisu's having a really good day of it. This is about as good as we could expect him to be able to perform against the caliber of players that he's against. Really wild stuff we're seeing, and being able to keep this gateway alive obviously means he's been able to produce non-stop Zealots as well. That's a lot of pressure on Sulky not being able to just drone right now. He's a little bit worried about a Zealot pressure attack as well. Doesn't want to move out until he's made at least 2 cannons worth back at home though. Or he's actually thinking that now is a good time. There are some Zerglings waiting just outside this rally point, but he's left 2 Zealots to block the possible run by here. Sulky might still go for it though regardless. He's actually going to target the cannon. I didn't expect that. That's actually not going to kill the cannon. That's a big mistake from Sulky, I think.
That's pretty strange, but you know what? There's a cannon in the main, so the run by into the main is not nearly as powerful. He's just going to build a lot of links and try to all in. I wonder if Bisu is catching on to this, because he's continuing to build Zealots and he's got a second cannon on the way. This is a little bit scary because the gateway is so low, and he put a lot of damage onto that cannon. That could go down really fast. But as long as he stays in this wall and uses the Zealots behind the gateway to block, it shouldn't be a problem. Bisu should be able to hold on regardless, and this is so much commitment to Lings, dude. Oh my goodness, so much commitment to Lings, and behind this he's going to go into a Spore to hold off the incoming Corsair.
Yeah.
Dude.
It also allows you to build one more pair of Lings.
Yeah, that's true. If, oh gosh, yeah, he's gonna go after the cannon. Can't get it.
No, man, this is bad for Sulky. I don't think he can do it now after not being able to snipe this cannon. I think he needs to kill that cannon. If the Zealots come out, he can still win, but if the Bisu stays in the wall, I think this is really problematic for Sulky.
Oh, for sure. This is problematic to say the least. He's gonna go for the surround. Oh, can he get the full surround on the Zealots? The Zealot surround is pretty good. A lot of these Zealots are going to go down, but the double cannon is clearing out so many Lings. He's going to go after the gateway, but at the end of the day, what does he really accomplish? 1 cannon dies, and he can remake this gateway no problem. GG is called. Bisu takes this win over Sulky of all people, and knocks out Zerg from this week of KCM. Really impressive stuff from Bisu overall in both these two games, beating the odds and taking victory for his race. This is some good StarCraft right here. Sulky being so aggressive though. Never would have expected him to go for a 9-pool speed, but he tried it, and he proved a little bit lackluster with his link control. It was either Sulky, his mistake, or Bisu's brilliance. I'm sure it's a mix of the two, but we're going to jump into our last game, potentially, of the night. Bisu versus Light. That should be a lot of fun.
이재호 선수에게 있어요.
리셋된 상태에서 확인.
약간 다른 방면으로 좀 더.
All right.
I mean, I'm just going to put this down to Sulky hiding his power level a little bit. But, yeah. I think that it is probably wanting to hide some of the things he's got planned for ASL.
Maybe.
That's what I would say.
I don't think that affects, like, micro, though. Like,
No. It's in terms of his, like, execution, like, there was definitely slip-ups as well.
yeah.
That's really well held from Bisu. Like, usually you have to put a Zealot and a probe on the ramp, but he managed to get away with just putting probes on the ramp and making it work.
Barely.
Barely.
But yeah. It was really strong the way he sent the first Zealot over to stop the links from hitting the gateway.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sulky got like a partial surround on that. So he brought that Zealot back towards the ramp, and then he pulled the other Zealot to the front and used that to push away the links from the gateway. Like he kind of like rotated them.
Yeah.
And bought just barely enough time to get that next Zealot out. And then, of course, the Zealot after that as well, with the run by and all that craziness.
Yeah, kind of wild. You never know what you're going to get in KCM, man. Always a crazy series of games.
Oh, for sure. Wait. What am I doing? I
What are you
crossed off Bisu. Happens sometimes when we say Bisu's name a whole bunch, and then
Yeah.
I go to cross someone's name off, and I just cross him off.
I don't know if he
there we
can
go.
be crossed off today. He's got one more challenger.
All right, let's go.
좋아진 게 아닌가라는 생각이 들 정도로.
자, 마지막이 진짜 페넌트레스의 마지막이 될 수도 있습니다. 이 경기가 마지막 경기 될 수 있으니까 추천 즐겨찾기. 제 유튜브 KCM TV 이제 8만 명을 향해 달려가는데 몇백 명 남지 않았습니다. 여러분께서 파워를 보여주시기
Bisu
바랍니다.
on
그리고
fire
많이 부탁드립니다.
here in the KCM.
그리고 마지막 일수
Absolutely crushing
그러면 이제 질문. 임준목의
expectations along with his opponents.
그냥 잘랐어요. 와이프가
And now Light
예.
here in the top right. He's going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to take down Bisu in this prime form that we've got today.
Yeah, and he's not building gas, by the way, so this is going to be a bunkerless expand. Sorry, gasless expand from Light, excuse me. It is a very strong build order to go against Protoss, and it is not a Nexus first from Bisu, so the only thing that really hard counters the bunker expand is like a Nexus first play. So this might be a good game for Light. We might be seeing a very strong macro game from both players. I doubt that Bisu will be able to kill the bunker expand in cross-map positions, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways that you can potentially do it, like a proxy robo.
Right.
Can be very effective.
뭐 남에게 피해 주는 거 아니니까.
Can't remember if it was Bisu we saw last season who did proxy robo a bunch, but I think it was either him or Stork.
자, 여러분,
Really challenging my memory here, pushing it to the limit.
You can obviously...
I'm not sure if we're going to have that, but you really do need to obfuscate what's going on in your side of the map. You can't let an SCV out and scout you.
Right.
Otherwise, the Terran player can really prepare appropriately.
Yeah, just identifying how many pylons you've got in your main base will really tip off the Terran as well. Like if they see like no third pylon, for example, they know it's most likely going to be an early proxy play. So you have to be doing your absolute A game to make sure the Terran can't just come in there and scout you for free. Ooh, not quite getting the kill on that scouting probe of Bisu, making it out there just 1 hit point.
지금은 70kg입니다.
피크가 와 아무튼 그랬습니다. 여러분들께서도
So just a Nexus coming here from Bisu,
진짜 노력을 많이 했어요.
and he's not going to challenge this bunker expansion.
느낌이 들 정도로.
Is Light going to follow this up with a drop play?
Well, he
That
used
could be
to.
quite a greedy way to
프로게임은 누구나 알아요.
execute this bunkerless expand. One factory into a
그가 누가 몰라.
Stargate. You can get a lot of damage going on a Protoss player who's trying to catch up
Right.
to your early expansion.
Yeah, it's going to be a double factory, so I don't think we're going to be seeing the vulture drop potential.
No.
It's hard to optimize for with the bunker expand. He's just a little bit slower timing. He's not quite getting the kill on it. The Dragoon is faster than the SCV, so he will eventually get the phase disruption shot. Kind of a little funny interaction there. This is the most common follow-up from the bunker expand. Just getting 2 factories online as soon as possible. And we will be seeing a fast Reaver play out of Bisu, actually. Not electing to get an observer out first. Instead, wanting to put the pressure on right away.
I think it's a reasonable idea here from Bisu. Because they're going to be a little slower to get online for Light, and so wants to look for a timing where maybe the defenses aren't quite there in time. It's just a long way across the map.
Yeah.
So I imagine that Light will have everything set up in time, and he's well known for being one of the strongest in terms of Terran defense against any sort of drop play in general, but we'll see if Bisu can get anything done with this.
Yeah, I like this setup from Light. He's preventing any run-bys from Dragoons by this little Sim City, the natural expansion, the depot between the barracks and the command center here. So it's a really nice setup, but Bisu's not going to attempt anything like that. He's going just for this tech play, trying to get a Reaver in there, get as much splash damage onto those SCV trains as possible, maybe, just maybe, breaking the bunker with the Reaver as well, but that's more of an afterthought. Really, we just want to do as much damage to the economy of Terran as possible and harass them into oblivion.
Well, Light's going to open up his eggs on the ramp, start to get a little bit better circulation in this space. Could come into play a little later as the Reaver play comes online. Great scout here with the scan. That vision, that God vision on the map, giving him the ability to scout out everything that Bisu wants to do. He's going to start to set up turrets all along the edge of the base.
Yeah.
All right, he's going to set up a full turret wall here, try to prevent the Reaver from ever getting in, which is not the common way to deal with it anymore. This used to be the way that Terran players would deal with this, but it's much more common these days to build turrets closer to your CC. Oh gosh, he's gonna fly right over this. The second turret isn't gonna finish up in time. Oh my gosh, it's so close, but it does manage to fly away. The Reaver is gonna land. Oh, what? Huge hit there. Absolutely
Like 6
massive.
or 4. Wow.
Just brutal economic damage so far, and it's not over, guys.
This is crazy. There are some mines laid here. He needs to make sure he doesn't land on top of those, but this is a lot of damage so far for Bisu. The Reaver wasn't quite up against the mineral, so that one can't break through the mineral line. Reaver has to be placed next to the minerals to actually shoot through them. Really hard to deal with this kind of pressure as Light. If he loses any more SCVs, it's going to be devastating. 4 SCVs, 5 SCVs, not too big a deal, but any more than that, it's not in range to detonate that mine as well. That's so unfortunate. It's just barely out of range. Does get one shot onto that tank as well. Really nicely done from Bisu while getting this third base online as well.
Bisu doing a little macroing back at home. It's hard to, in a situation like this, remember
더 해주는 게 좋죠.
Hit all your P's and Q's while microing back and forth with the Reaver and avoiding mines. Trying to get as much damage as possible. Can he actually land here? I think the tank will be in range.
Yeah.
But if there's enough health on the Reaver, maybe he can get one more shot? No. Did get a lot of damage going, though, and Bisu's probably going to be pretty satisfied with the way that this Reaver drop has gone so far.
Yeah, it's not game-ending damage, but it certainly slows down the Terran enough here that he can then play a more normal macro game as a result. He has got additional Reavers and Shuttles to sandbag any Terran advances, and it is cross-map on Deja Vu. A little bit tough to push out here for Light. It would be amazing if he could somehow get all the way over to the other side of the map and contain him on this high ground ring. It just won't be transpiring. He hasn't got enough production to do that. He has to just sit back and defend and take his own third.
Yeah, taking a pretty quick third here, Light. Hoping that there was a bit of a stall out in the macro of Bisu, that he missed a beat while doing all of that harassment. Taking this third base with only 4 factories and at such an early timing is going to be a tough call to make, but the situation, oh gosh, wait, hold on a second, dropping into this natural here. Oh my gosh, the shuttle is still alive. 6 HP.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. More SCV damage is going to happen right now. Oh my gosh, even more damage here. It takes a few last pot shots. He's going to drop the Reaver. Looks like just in range of the mine. Great dodge there, though. Absolutely insane dodge. Can he get one more hit? Reaver pops out.
He gets this
another hit
blocking
there.
though. He needs one more scrap. Doesn't find it. Luckily that SCV was blocking the gap there, so we couldn't just try and get a snipe on the rest of the SCV train. Light kind of avoids disaster there just barely by the skin of his teeth. He's now still got enough of an engine to work with against Bisu. Bisu, though, still in a pretty good game state. Got a 4th base coming online. Transitioning into those storms as well. Storm drops will be the next thing on the agenda. The Reaver did some damage to the Terran economy. Light can't even afford to start his upgrades right now. And there we finally see the upgrades starting. So that's going to be a very slow timing for Light to work with. He's in just full defensive mode, making walls and setting up as best as he can to weather the storm, pun intended, that's going to be coming his way. There's going to be shuttles and High Templars popping out at his bases, storming these SCV lines into oblivion in the next few minutes, probably.
Well, the map is such that Light can pretty easily defend this third base. He can send just a few tanks over towards that bridge area, and then the bus through to the third base is pretty untenable. Here comes the storm drop. First storm drop. Oh, huge damage. A lot of these SCVs were earlier injured, dropping down to just 99 supply. Light is limping in this game, and what I was saying before, it's easy to defend that third, very hard to bust through with the Protoss army into that third base. The natural is wide open, though, so we can, really expect the culmination of all these drops to result in a massive attack.
Yeah.
Right through that natural to where Light is the weakest and where the surface area is the best here for the Protoss army.
Let's go all the way up into 7 factory production. Even before getting a starport, he knows he has to make so many units to push out and take some kind of map control. The 4th base is just so far away, and with how much damage he's had to deal with early game, this is not going to be a very tenable position if he doesn't just go crazy hard into macro mode. And 7 factory before 4th base is becoming more increasingly common these days. So we see the starport finally starting. The +1 attack timing is just so slow for Light, and Bisu hasn't skimped out on his. He already has +1 upgrades as well. This is going to be a little bit problematic for Light going forward. He needs to try and establish himself in the ebb and flow of the game, but he's having a hard time with it.
I don't think there's enough stuff here. I'm surprised to see Light push out onto this high ground. I thought he would sit back in the space between his natural and his third and build more buildings and build more turrets and try to buy time, but he's moved out quite far, and now the storms are coming forward here. The shuttles are going to be dropped on top of everything. Storms everywhere. blanketing these units. He's hit so many tanks here on the right-hand side, and the Zealots are way too numerous, overwhelming the position completely here, busting through Light on this high ground.
And this was after sniping 2 High Templars for free with those Vultures at the start of the fight. This is wild from Bisu. He's just outclassing Light in this game. Bisu is playing like an absolute god today and making these guys look silly. Like, this is kind of just absolutely wild stuff that we're seeing. Light is cut off from defending this 3rd base location now. There's only 2 siege tanks entrenched there to hold that. They will be broken very soon. Light is in so much trouble. 5th base even coming online for Bisu behind us. Even if somehow he did clean up this attack, there's just no way of really holding on to the next phase of the game. He got +1 armor before weapons. That's a big mistake from Light.
Oh my goodness, really? +1 armor? Well, GG. Light taps out. Bisu clutches it out. A Protoss victory here in week number 8.
그런 말이 좀 떠올라요. 고놈 참
Damn, man. Bisu's making these guys look silly, honestly. I'm sorry for hitting the mic there, guys.
Wow. All right. Let's wrap up.
Yeah. Wait, what happens
and
now?
with that, we can... Oh,
sorry for breaking in. I just want to ask you something. What happens now that we've finished week 8 and 2 players have 7 points? What even happens?
Terran goes into the finals, and these two do semifinal.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm tripping. Okay. Never mind. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't... Okay.
Wait. 1 sec. Let me delete the little clip that I just made there so I don't stuff it in later.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just wanted to clear that up because I was a little bit confused, but I wasn't sure.
All right. Let's go. Well, a fantastic showing at the 11th hour here for Protoss. Motive really came through, and Bisu finished off the remainder of these players. We've got our point rankings now on the screen. Looks like Terran for sure going through to that finals. We're going to have a PVZ semis, boys. That'll be coming out next week in the downtime between ASL round of 16 and round of 24. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the group selection week. Yeah, it's going to be really awesome to have this as a little interim there. Seeing the semi-finals, Protoss versus O is definitely going to be a treat. Looking forward to this. And look at the trajectory of Terran just really dominating since week 4. It's kind of been like the writing on the wall that they would be the shoe-in for the finals now. And it's going to be up to Protoss or Zerg. Can they somehow have an epic semi-finals and push themselves all the way into the final spot with Terran? I would love to see just an absolute crazy semi-finals leading up into the finals. I don't want to see it being one-sided, even though I'm a Zerg fan here.
I wonder if we're going to see a TVP finals. Zerg has really not been showing up lately, and
right.
I've been having a hard time, even with some of the greatest lineups we've seen, right? Out of any of the squads, they've had even Sulky kind of bottoming out and not doing very well. I wonder what his power level is going to look like in the ASL this season. Is he completely just hiding his strength and not playing at his 100%? Or is this really Sulky and the level we can expect from him over in the ASL? Of course, just going for a 9 pool today is pretty one-off, kind of weird build from him. But really, throughout the season, he hasn't been getting many wins. He hasn't been performing that well.
No, honestly, and we did kind of have these suspicions that once he'd got his triple title wins, that there'd be a little bit of a slumping going on, or at least not being able to play at the same kind of perfect caliber that he once did. We see that happen with a lot of athletes. They get the accolades they were hunting for, and even if they are still trying to make money, it doesn't really matter. Like, you don't have the same kind of motivation or the fire lit in your belly to play at that absolute mad level anymore. And we might be seeing that in Soki, where he just slips ever so slightly and kind of falls from grace a little bit here in terms of just how much of a monster he usually is.
Well, we'll have to wait and see whether that's the case, or if he's able to pull himself together for the biggest tournament in the world. If he's been hiding that power level, I'd love to see it. If you guys enjoyed this video and you enjoy our dual commentary, go and check out our ASL commentary as well, guys. There's a link in the description. It's live on Soup's platform, and then after the fact on Starcast TV as well. So until next time, guys, until next week, this has been an awesome little adventure. As always, KCM is just so much fun.
Yeah.
So many wacky games. So you never really know what you're going to get. And we thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
All right. It's another one in the books.
Nice.
Yeah,
Kind of surprising from Bisu this week.
he really showed up. I mean, imagine if he didn't win that game versus Rush, right? Like, which he really shouldn't have.
Right.
Probably won, but
That was
he
a weird
did.
game, honestly. The game against Rush was the weirdest one.
Yeah, that was a really strange one. Not any more strange than like Tyson in the ASL though. Did you see some of the reaction videos?
Yeah. That's
Oh my
pretty brutal.
god.
Warranted, though, in my opinion. Like, that was some shocking stuff from him. Like, really.
Yeah. The counterattack into the natural. What the fuck?
Yeah, pretty brutal.
Brutal. Yeah, Flash said that if he loses this game, he should quit StarCraft. He fucking lost.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
When Flash says you should uninstall, like, oh my god, it's pretty bad.
I mean, think about it. He did a failed bio push. He defended it. The bunker also didn't finish rather earlier on. Like, there's so many things that went his way, and he still couldn't finish out the game. It's really kind of shocking.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Pretty
Man.
bad.
Light found like the one way to win that game. It's kind of wild as well. Sneaking out the whole army was insane.
Yeah, I don't know what. I'm not really sure what to say about all that. Pretty insane.
Yeah. Well, hope you had a good time listening while doing your cardio, Paul. Yeah, I really love District 9. It's actually one of my favorite films. But man, Schedule 1, that's a good game.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. You played it?
Yeah, I've been playing a pirated version of it to test it, and now I feel like I want to buy it and start over again.
Yeah, we should make one together. It'll be fun.
Yeah, you want to do that? I'm down for that.
Let's do it. Oh, I'm like pretty deep in. I'm making cocaine now.
Oh, I'm not that deep. On my cracked version, I didn't get that far. I just bought the warehouse, and I was just about to set up like a big meth operation, but didn't actually get it underway. I was
you already bought the warehouse as well. Damn.
Well, I was like min-maxing, so I was like going hard into I like made the bungalow into a really big weed house, and I was doing really good with that. and I didn't even bother mixing. I like just doubled down on like quantity and efficiency of like churning out crazy amounts, and every time someone's trying to deal off me, I'm like trying to upscale them. So they ask for 13, I'm giving them 15 to like, so I can also do it in jars only to make it more efficient, right? And I managed to get so much money so quickly because I quickly bought the laundromat and car wash. So I'm like laundering like 8K a day so that I could quickly buy the warehouse. And I was going to upscale my operation, like leapfrogging it up rather than like slowly grinding it up. You know what I mean?
Right. No, it makes sense.
But yeah, I'll be down to start one of you.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I wonder what it's like playing two people
playing double two-player.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. I played with Herbmon for a while. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Did you mess around with all the different mixes?
No, I did, but I didn't actually. I smoked them myself a little bit, but I didn't actually like try and sell them. You know what I mean? Because I didn't. It seemed like the mixing process, I would have to get a guy in to like do the packing and help me doing the mixing to make it optimal. Like it seemed really unoptimal if I was doing all the mixing myself. I don't know.
You should buy it and come and check my my facility out. I'm in the barn right now. It's pretty legit.
Yeah, I skipped over the barn. I went straight to the warehouse on mine.
Oh yeah. Nice.
But I think I scaled up faster than I think I did faster than I should have, because like I was able to start making meth before I could even get meth customers. Like I don't know if I just made a lot of money on the weed or what.
Well, you can get meth customers immediately. All you need to do is just list it on your phone.
Oh shit!
You have to go to your phone and get product and then list.
Fuck.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. I remember the game told me at one point. I completely forgot. Shit, I forgot about that, dude.
Yeah,
that's kind of fun.
So yeah, you can get the customers right away. You just do that. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get it. I got my mom coming around today at some point. I was gonna get Chinese with her, but I'll be down to play with you some.
Sounds good.
See what it's like playing multiplayer.
Yeah.
Can we
play like?
Go on. What are you gonna say? I was gonna say, can we start a whole new one together?
Yeah, we'll start a new one together. We'll call it. We'll think of a good name.
Yeah.
We'll think of a clever name to call it.
It's a good enough game that I would definitely be down for getting it.
Yeah, there are some like janky things like that I'm not too happy about. Like sometimes I get frame rate drops. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from. I have to restart to like get rid of it.
Yeah.
And there's like stupid things with the what are they called? The AI. I'm sure you saw it enough in the bungalow where you're like, why is the AI like not cleaning up the garbage or like?
Oh, I had something
like,
worse.
stuck.
Yes, but I had something even worse than that. I managed to bug out someone on the sweatshop before the bungalow. I tried to set up a little mini meth operation there, and I had a chemist bug out because he did not do the process that I set him up to do. So I was like, okay, maybe I have to do the first cook. So I started doing the first cook, and as I was finishing the cook with the oven, like bringing it out and smashing it up, he came over to help me do it, and he's got locked onto that station, not finishing. He's just standing there with a hammer in his hand, like looking at me, and and I can't get rid of the station because he's using it, and I can't get rid of him because he thinks he's still doing a task.
Oh no. Yeah, something similar happened to me too. Actually, this was horrible. I had an NPC I had a botanist employee who got locked onto a what's it called, a shelf. And I placed all the like seeds and what's it called on the shelf, the soil. And I was like, why are all my seeds and soil gone? Because I just loaded up the shelf.
Yeah.
And there was none of the pots had anything in them. And I was like, what the fuck? So I go and buy a whole nother round of seeds and soil, and I put it all on there. And then I leave, and I come back like not even 5 minutes, and it's all gone.
Oh, shit.
I was like, what the fuck? So that I go there and I put